Hello, 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 good evening. Good evening, what am I talking about? Good afternoon. Welcome to Wakizashi's Teahouse. This is Gray over in Japan. Very cold, it's chilly here, raining outside. Currently on 7 degrees Celsius, so pretty cold, pretty miserable. And we had some snow. Yes, we had snow a couple of days ago. Not where I live, but in one of the small cities, well, small towns that I work in. So yeah, the mountain is covered in snow. It looks amazing. Getting into the Christmas feeling. Good to see you, Dwayne, in the chat. Greetings from a cold, snowy evening in WNY. Nice one, mate. So you got the snow over there too, yeah? Yeah, we're expecting more over here. I'm just hoping, can I get to Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, before it comes on? We'll have to see what happens. So yeah, lots to talk about this week. Wow. Ho, 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 says Salty in the chat. How you doing, man? I just realised when I booted up StreamYard, everything's changed. It's kind of gone back to the, default settings. So I've been messing about trying to fix things. Never mind, that's all right. Okay. Anyway, we've also got Nosferatu. All I Want for Christmas is You. We were singing that. When was that? What day was it? I had on Thursday, we had the final, well, for me, the final junior high school classes. So we did a bit of Christmas lesson, bit of Christmas bingo. We sang All I Want for Christmas is You. Well, we tried to. Yeah, it was good. It was good fun. I wore a Santa hat and looked awesome. So, okay, right. So I'm going to just go straight into the news because there's been big news. Big news. Where are we? The first big bit of news is, and it's almost old news now, this, but here we go. Marvel has announced a new official writer on Spidey, on Spider-Man, and big surprise is it's not the rumoured Justina Ireland. No, it isn't her. Can you guess who it is if you haven't heard yet? Here we go, let's scroll down. Marvel Comics has officially made it clear Joe Kelly, that's right, the current writer who's doing the is it 9 deaths or 8 deaths of Spider-Man, whatever, he's going to be taking over from next year. Joining him are artists John Romita Jr. and Pepe Larraz. And that's a Pepe Larraz cover. I'm going to click on it here. Check this out. Let's make it bigger. Pretty cool cover there. What do you think? So they're going to be relaunching like a new #1. Let me check the date. I think is it April next year? Let's just scroll down. It's out on April the 9th, 2025. Wow, it feels weird saying that, doesn't it? 2025 coming soon. Quarter of a century. Unbelievable. The new Amazing Spider-Man will deliver classic Spidey storytelling with bold new horizons for Spider-Man. I'll believe that when I see it, you know what I mean? His supporting cast, including the recently redeemed Norman Osborn, which is not a popular move with a lot of Spidey fans, and Peter's new girlfriend, Shay. Okay, the greatest supervillains of all, pop culture. Kelly took over on Amazing Spider-Man with issue 61 back in November. And here's what he has to say. Even though this is a new #1, I don't think of it as a restart per se, says Kelly. I'm writing the next chapter of the story of one of the world's greatest characters, lucky enough to follow in the footsteps of the folks behind me. Ooh, I like that. Follow footsteps, folks. After that sinks in, I spend a lot of time thinking about what I love about Spider-Man and his cast. What stories resonated with me at different times of my life. I don't know what it is with this, like, what is it? Focus on resonating with me. What spoke to me? Anyway, it's all me, isn't it? I've lost where I am now. Hey! How I can synthesize all of that into something that works with what came before, but breaks new ground. I feel a drive to take bold, unexpected swings in order to see how Spider-Man deals with Marvel-sized curveballs. Pressure makes diamonds. Oh, the diamond in the rough, says Joe Kelly. Here we go. So here's the very brief synopsis, and guess what? No surprises here. It's basically another poor Peter Parker. The new run finds Peter without a job and looking for gainful employment, but his job search is interrupted by a rampaging rhino, who is but the tip of a sinister iceberg. Sinister Six, by any chance? What major spider villain is working behind the scenes, weaponizing other spider villains, including one we haven't seen in over 7 years? 7 years, look at that in block capitals. Also, what is that goblin-free Norman Osborn up to these days? The most important part of Spider-Man I wanted to portray accurately is Peter. Larraz added, okay, Pepe. Of course, I can talk about drawing a believable New York. I shot hundreds of pictures of details of the city for reference. Or how I focused on drawing the flow of Spidey's movement and speed in a way closer to animation than comics. But I think Spider-Man comics work because we care about Peter and his world. So that was my main focus. To draw a Peter that you instantly recognise and empathise with. So there we go, there's the Pepe Larraz wraparound cover. Let's just scroll down. I think that's all there is. Unfortunately, there's no interior art. There's a bit here from Nick Lowe. Do you even want to hear this? Let's go back to you guys in the chat. Poor Peter Parker. Gray is missing the best chat on YouTube tonight. Come on, I'm reading from articles. I can't keep interrupting the reading to check your, what's the word, adolescent comments, shall we say? I buy Wolverine for old time's sake, Salty. Did you enjoy the latest, latest miniseries, Helverine issue on? I enjoyed it, but it got kind of average reviews by some people that I kind of respect. So, yeah, I thought it was okay. The art came under criticism, but anyway, stop sharing that. G'day, make me big. Fairmont's in the chat. I buy sake for old time's sake. Peter Parker becomes a Peter Puffer, says Salty Travelling Sea for $2. Unbelievable. What you like, you madman. For that, I've only got one thing to play for you.
He swaps his longsword for a Wakizashi.
There we go. Thank you very much. Thank you, Salty. Gray loves breaking my heart. Not only getting into the only comics I like. I tell you, Nosferatu keeps recommending, is it Fables, Nos? Which, it gets a lot of praise that. It's just taking on is it 50 issues? It's quite a long series, isn't it? And it's supposed to be excellent, I know, so I will get to it one day, but you know what it's like. There's just too much going on. Helverine was decent, I thought. I agree, Salty. Dwayne, yeah, X-Men is just... I mean, you can read it, but it's not the most exciting series. Not really. Ghost Machine is where it's at. That's true. So, are you guys out there, guys and girls, are you getting ready for your best of the year lists? I've not even started mine, although I've got some ideas already, for sure. Speaking of Ghost Machine, they'll be on there. I don't know. Sorry. Moaning about ads, unskippable ads. Yeah, well, I've got it on the, conservative, not balanced or aggressive. It's supposed to be very light. We'll see what happens. Not that it makes a difference. Nosferatu, I'm buying an issue of Gunslinger Spawn just to burn it, to spite Gray. I'm not reading it anymore, Nos. Although speaking of that, there is a new #1 called, is it Tales of the Gunslinger? Come out this week, which I've not read yet, but looks quite good. So yeah, what are your thoughts on Spidey, on Marvel? Giving it to Joe Kelly. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the current run, it's alright. It feels like there are no stakes. It feels like we're just having it's almost like a game. You beat the big boss, but lose a life doing it, and then you get this life again somehow. He's got 8 lives, is it? And you get to fight the next big boss. So it's just where are the stakes? Where are the stakes? That's the question. Okay, speaking of Spider-Man, I've got some interesting to talk about. Ultimate Spider-Man issue 11. If you read it, the Christmas issue. Come on now. Where are we? Let me just share screen. Oh, mate, what are you doing, Salty? Stop with your generosity is unbelievable. Consider this me buying you a pint, man. Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. Speaking of that, I'll grab something from the fridge to show, but before I do that, let's see, it will take me about 10 seconds to run to the fridge and back. What do we have that we've not played for a while? Let's have a bit of Akira. Wanted to show you a picture of this. I got this for last night, but I was so wrecked yesterday. I went to bed early, didn't even drink it. Oh, it's a shame it's reflecting. Look at that line of light in the middle. It's a Kirin, not the traditional one. It's kind of a fairly newish one. It's quite fruity, a bit like Nosferatu. Quite fruity, nice. So, yeah, looking forward to that later on. Look at the oh. Salty, now you know I know how you felt last week trying to like show the comics. I love this mythological creature here, the Kirin. Isn't it cool? Anyway, that's for later tonight. Looking forward to that. So thanks very much, Salty. You star. It's the holidays. Pour a bourbon, you wimp. No, I'm not allowed to do that until Christmas Day, when, by tradition, we always start the morning with a nice drop of whiskey or bourbon. Crazy. No wonder I turned into an alcoholic. Yeah. Salty's drinking some Jolly Roger Christmas Ale. That's awesome. It is a fancy looking can, isn't it? For him on, it's nice. As I say, I can't seem to get away from the reflection, but if I turn it off briefly, let's see if it shows up better. Nice light blue. Lovely. Yeah. I like the size as well. This is the closest Japan has to a pint. It's only 5% alcohol. Not too strong. 500 millilitres, whatever that means in American. Or even in British English, I've still not got used to the measures over here. So thank you very much. Right. Where was I going? I was going to share this with you. I've got something quite interesting to talk about. Here we go. I was saying about Ultimate Spider-Man, okay, issue 12, the Christmas issue. Here's the cover, by the way. I was looking forward to this. I was looking forward to it, the Christmas issue. Come on. So let me get this bigger grey. Oh, no. That's the one. That's the one, baby. I talked about this last week. I'll say last issue. Showed a little bit of it. So, anyway, I read it. I thought it was okay. No action. It's a very, family-based issue, which I suppose is suitable for Christmas. As you can see on the ratings here, it's got an 8.4 for the critics average and a 9.4 from users. If we go down here, it starts to get interesting. Only 6 critic reviews. Now, I know people don't really hold much faith in... Oh, dear. A little smaller. Where are we? Boom. CBR anymore. But 21 users. That's quite a lot. Now... we've got the typical 10s from the usual suspects, 10s and 9s. They always give 10s for everything. We go down a bit further. We got, a rare 7 from AIPT. That surprised me. David Brooks said, while Ultimate Spider-Man 12 leans heavily into family drama at the expense of superhero action, it offers meaningful character development and a suspenseful cliffhanger that promises intriguing developments ahead. Yeah, I tell you, it was only worth reading for the last page, the cliffhanger. Fans of Hickman's storytelling will appreciate the groundwork being laid, even if this issue feels more like setup than payoff. Now, this is the next one. This is by Gabe, good old sus Gabe from Weird Science Comics. He writes a lot of the reviews that Jim puts on the site. Ultimate Spider-Man 12 does exactly what Marvel and Jonathan Hickman should not be doing. 5.8 out of 10, by the way. More world and character building of side characters, relegating Peter Parker to the back burner again. If it weren't for the strong, albeit predictable twist in the last 3 pages, and Marco Ciccedo's gorgeous art, this issue would be a complete waste of time for Spider fans. Quite harsh there from Gabe, 5.8, but more of a realistic score, I would say. Now let's get to the user reviews. This is where it gets funny. Here we go. Starting off with quite a few 10s. Someone is even commenting here. Look at this guy. It's a response to Sus Gabe's 5.8 out of 10. Have yourself a 5.8 out of 10 little Christmas. Gabe. Poor Gabe. Get in here. I'm a shill. 10 for you, Gabe. So people are just dropping 10s on purpose to try and, put the average higher. But this is for users. This guy here, I don't know who this is, but he gives pretty much 10s for everything and just... I think it might even be an AI. Tells the plot, blah, blah, blah. No real feelings. Okay, going down to this. This is the review I wanted to read a little bit from. Okay, user review, Hex. And this guy's fine. I've had kind of interactions with him on this site before, and he's a very fair reviewer. But just see what's happened, because he's got 13 comments here. Okay. A direct quote from Gabe's review, I just read that. He's asking like, why does Jonathan Hickman believe Spider-Man fans are interested in the interpersonal dynamics between MJ, her sister, and her mother? And this is his answer, this reviewer, Hex. He says, because people have been asking for more from the wider Spider-Man family for years, and now that family is a family. If you don't create characters with depth, interpersonal dynamics, or anything, you're left with what the main Marvel Universe has. Every character going from one event to the next. No time to talk to Aunt May, Tony running the bodega, Jonah, anyone unless they force themselves into the story. Peter wouldn't have time or make time for anyone if the current 616 editorial team had their way with it. So, I'm sorry, sus Gabe, that I and the wider audience of this run seem to really like these character, world-building issues that you seem to have such a problem with. Maybe go back to reading the Golden Age, where every human interaction was 2 panels of dialogue and 4 pages of action. Maybe that will cleanse your palate from your distaste for displaying human connection in a medium so devoid of it of late. Wow. Look at the overall user scores of USM. Take into account, really, just the ones where people took the time to actually review the book. You get a good gauge on the general consensus. Gabe is the odd man out, but hey, being a contrarian gets clicks. You don't say. It's a tried and true way to get foot traffic. I proved that myself in finding his quote. Getting clicks generates revenue for the site, which, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I don't generally believe in pumping up a book just because someone rated it poorly. I'm not even promoting it here, but just because something has great reviews also doesn't mean that one has to try and balance things out. If a book is good, it deserves a praise. I believe in rating books fairly, because otherwise, what's even the point? A 7 deserves a 7, a 10 is a 10. But the thing about it is everything is subjective, for sure. Someone could genuinely not like this issue, but what baffles the mind is the complaint here that you get more out of your characters, and somehow that's a problem. So what do you reckon? It's a pretty fair riposte to Gabe's review. A lot of Spider-Man fans want the family dynamics, they want the character building, the world building, and then on the other side you've got other fans, including me by the way, which was hoping for more Spider-Man action in a Spider-Man comic. Does that make sense? But yeah, it does kind of remind me, it does take me back to some of the early Spider-Man issues I used to read back in the mid to late 80s when you got the Christmas issue and you did get like quite a bit of family focus in there, and it's nice to see that. But we're not just talking about this one issue 12. We're talking about 12 issues in a series where you've not really seen that much Spider-Man. Not so much action. So I think that's what the complaint is, and that's what Gabe is saying. But anyway, let's go down to the comments. Here we go. So you got people agreeing straight away. Yep. Someone's angry here. Gabe has single-handedly reduced the critic score overall to an 8.5. That's still a good score, you know what I mean? That's what makes me laugh about this. Take away his review, it will sit closer to a 9. Oh wow, 0.5 higher. Anyway, and then Hex is replying, all you got to do is look at the difference between Amazing Spider-Man and Ultimate Spider-Man. One is holding pretty steady in its readership and scores, whereas Amazing Spider-Man is tanking in reviews and scores every release. The thing is though, it's still selling pretty well as far as I know. If shilling for a book is reading the things that I actually like and rating it accordingly, then I don't know what being objective is. So we're going down a bit more here. We get a reply from, here we go, Weird Science Jim. Jim Werner jumps in. So I was thinking, okay, what's he going to do here? Is he going to defend Gabe? Let's see what Jim has to say. When I look at the user reviews, I see way more people saying Gabe is wrong than actually just doing their own review, saying what they like or don't like about it. I also see people discounting what is actually just one person's opinion, and for some reason being upset about the book's overall score. The odd thing is that 99.9% of the writers at Marvel and DC care less about scores than everyone here, and the worst you get is writers reaching out to discuss a review in a more sensible and respectful way. Look at that. Look at Jim with a very balanced, fair reply there. That was cool. So, yeah, let me get back to the chat. I know I'm miles away. I'm not neglecting you if you're still here. So what do you think, guys, about this? you know, there's too many 10s and 9s, aren't there, in like comic book reviews. Let's go back to the main page here. Have a look at this week's reviews. There are too many, I know that. Okay, for example, let's just focus on... Let's go to Marvel, because we're talking about Spider-Man. See what we've got. These are average scores from critics. So, we've got a 7 for... Oh, this is a trade paperback, so skip that. Captain America 16 gets 8.4. Apparently, it's the final issue of JMS's run on the character. And a lot of people will be relieved. Only 3 critic reviews. This is what's interesting. Whereas, like, maybe 5 years ago, there'd probably be 10, 13, 15. Conquest 2099 gets 8. 1 review, 1 critic review. It doesn't show the user reviews. The figure on the right, I think, is how many people are pulling it. Just let me check. Pulls, yeah. How many people are pulling it? Ladies, are you pulling it? Daredevil 16, 8.5, gets 2 critic reviews. It's nothing, is it? It's nothing. Deadpool issue 9, 9.5. Yeah, right. Gets 2. Fantastic Four issue 27 gets 1 critic review at a 7.5. Immortal Thor, 1 review. Psylocke, which is worth a look, by the way. This surprised me. Psylocke issue 2 gets 4. That's one of the higher ones. And if we just like scroll down, TVA, a new issue 1, gets 5 reviews. So Ultimate Spider-Man with 6 critic reviews. That's the highest. That's the highest on here. Let's switch to the users and see how that compares. User ratings, okay. Back to Marvel. Mind your eyes. Daredevil 6. Deadpool 7. Fantastic Four gets an 8. Oh, 2 issues there. Wolverine issue 1 gets a 10 from somebody. It wasn't me, I promise. Fairer. But again, look at the numbers. The number of user ratings. And these aren't always reviews. They're just like often just a score. You've got 3 users, 1 user for this, 1, 2, 4. Only 21 for Ultimate Spider-Man. That shows you it's the most popular title. But a lot of this is because of the reaction to Gabe's review. You know, Gabe giving it a 5 out of 10, basically. So, yeah. Interesting. Let's get back. Get out of here. Stop screen. Jim defending Gabe. Now, that is sus, says Fearmonic. It is sus, isn't it? Very, very interesting. Nosferatu, I do not look like I sell happiness in a Helsinki ice bar. It's so cold here. I've got like 3 layers here. I've got a t-shirt, I've got a heat tech top, and a nice warm woolly jumper, and another top on top of that. I think, was it Zaxx calling this my, was it me lounge lizard robe or something? Or something like that. Where are we? Weird Science, good old Weird Science. And speaking of reviews, it's interesting that Jim and his podcast co-host Eric, they used to write, written reviews, and used to post like quite a lot. If you go back, say, 10 years, he's saying it was unbelievable how many reviews there were, how many user reviews there were back then, how many hits their blog was getting from people going to, read the full review. It used to be massive. He said now it's like, I don't know what a percentage would be, but you could say at least 50%, probably higher reduction in interest, in clicks, in people even rating or posting reviews. It's quite sad, isn't it? I mean, you can say that about maybe YouTube plays a big part in that. The video reviews are kind of really replacing, aren't they? A lot of written reviews. Yeah? What do you think? Yeah, Salty saying, this is like Rotten Tomatoes. Tomatoes. Oh, darling. Are you from England? Rotten Tomatoes inflating movie ratings with made-up influencer sites no one has heard of. Well, that's another point, Salty. How many of those user reviews are real people? How many are just... Or they could be like, triple accounts. The same user with like 3 or 4 different names. Yeah, that surprise that happens, right? Dwayne saying Marvel repetitive universe, money down the toilet. Okay, thanks, Fearmonic. Let's have a look. Yeah, Jason put it well in one of his comments. He has a first issue bias, and I can totally relate. I always want to give a new idea full of potential, good marks, but it usually falls quickly. Yeah, I'm like that. I'm very optimistic. I try and give a new series at least 3 issues. You can't write something off, after 1 issue, unless it's just out and out terrible. And you can tell if it is, pretty much. All right, this is the ultimate debate. Stoned wash jeans or acid wash jeans? Says Nosferatu. You guys having your own debate in the chat there. Absolutely amazing. Hey, Adega Outlaw. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Gray looks like he's going to shoplift pork chops and brandy for his Christmas dinner. Salty, was it you talking about brandy with me the other day or the other week? You've got me kind of curious to try. I don't drink brandy usually. It was a drink my mum, good old mum, she enjoyed, but yeah, I don't really touch brandy, so curious. But it's expensive over here. And if you're going to buy a brandy, you've got to buy cognac, haven't you? The real thing, which is super expensive. Yo, Blair de Blair, great to see you, mate. Thank you for dropping in. Nosferatu, all he wants is Grey to grow a moustache. Nah, you're all right. Zaxx is in the house as well. He's speak of the devil. There's someone him up. Zaxx, good to see you, man. Thanks for dropping in. This is brilliant. Just going to see anything I might have missed. It was me, Napoleon Brandy. Yeah, I know Napoleon. Yeah. There was a Greek. Is it a Greek brandy called Metaxa that my mum used to like? We can actually get that here, but I think it's a little bit of a, what do you call it, a rough and ready style one. It's not a fancy one. I'm not a huge cognac guy. It makes me feel like crap. Okay, Nosferatu, yeah. I'm sure you're going to get a bad hangover on it. I love this one from Dwayne. Knob Creek Bourbon. Bourbon, is it bourbon or bourbon? Knob Creek. Come on, how cool is that? I don't have I thought I had a J. Jonah, yeah. Let's say it again. One more time, everybody. Here we go. Knob Creek. Absolutely fantastic. Merry Christmas, gents. Are you getting excited, folks? I'm getting excited. I really am. It's only a few days away now. Only a few days. Yeah, thanks, Nos. You would know, right? Right? You know what I'm saying? Okay, so yeah, that was my kind of, not rant, but I want to talk a little bit about comic book reviews and how it is these days, how it's been going. Oh dear, shill sites, eh? You know, there are only a couple of critic reviews I would read, like mainly Weird Science Jim, and even Gabe's, I do read his. So they're always worth a look, but most of them are just nonsense. You know, when you start off with 10, 10, 10, it's like, I just skip them. I think most people do these days. Just a joke. The rumour is that people who get review copies, you know, they're not really supposed to drop a score lower than an 8. Maybe a 7.5 they can get away with it, but 8, 9 and 10s to, you know, keep getting the review copies. Am I being cynical? I don't think so. I don't know, Zach. It's a good question. I was trying to find out the release date, jokingly saying it's going to be probably March or April next year. But let's have a look if there's a Japanese release date. And if you're going to see Gray cry live on stream when he finds out when it is. Here we go. Nosferatu release date. I know it's a Christmas Day, which is an interesting day, isn't it, for a release date in the States. That means all the people who work in cinemas have got to work on Christmas Day. You got to check this out. I'm going to share my screen before I tell you. This is the first thing that came up on Google, good old Google, eh? Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror, Japan release date, September the 10th, 2005. That's all like 20 years ago, almost. Okay, let's get into IMDb site and see what it says. I bet it's not even listed, you know what I mean? Just to piss me off even more. Let's go right to the bottom, you'll find Japan. No, it's not even listed. There's no release date for Japan. What a flipping surprise. I'll have to go to the States for Christmas. Let's tell Mrs. Wakizashi and see what she says. Let's see if it's even got a title in Japanese. Here we go, in Japan, Nosferatu. It's in English. There we go, so that's the answer to that question. Absolutely zero release date for Japan. Fantastic. Oh my god. I started drinking Knob Creek in 2004 at a Pittsburgh Comic Con, says Dwayne. My friends were chugging away watching a bootleg of Songs of the South. Oh god. 2005 Nosferatu, can you believe it? Was I here then? Yes, I was. I was actually here, but I missed it. I didn't see it in the cinemas. 2005. Oh my God, that's so crazy. I'm jealous. I'm jealous you guys get to watch it before me. I'll have to wait to, sail the seven seas on a certain site. Wow, was that a nice alliteration? Okay, guys, while I've got you here, before you run away, I was speaking of like best of the year list, and I'm still putting mine together, but I want to read from and recommend a blog, by the way, a blog and a podcast, which you won't have heard of. Here we go. Let's share, and if I go bigger here, what happens? Do I cover it up? Yeah, a little bit. I'll stay small. Put me in the corner down there. There we go. Okay, this is the blog site's called Never Iron Anything, the comics review show. And it's one of the three guys who runs the Awesome Comics podcast, which I listen to, which is definitely worth checking out. They drop episodes, I think it's every Monday night, or I get it Tuesday in Japan, so probably Monday afternoon or evening stateside. Definitely worth a listen. Awesome Comics podcast. It's really funny. They've been going for years, and they do interviews with creators. They focus a lot on small press as well, which is refreshing. Okay, so let's see. This is by Tony Esmond from Never Iron Anything. He's got his own podcast. That's the title of that, and he also does, the Awesome Comics podcast. Let's see. Okay, in no particular order, we've got Rook Exodus. Come on, it's up there. It's got to be up there. It's on mine for a start. Written by Jeff Johns with art by Jason Fabok. This really is top of the tree in the monthly comics market at the moment. I've tried to limit how many Ghost Machine comics I have in this list, but in all honesty, I look forward to reading and could have included them all. There's also one of the few books artistically that could sit alongside albums in a Franco-Belgian marketplace. The art is that good, and it deserves the bande dessinée oversized publishing style, in my opinion. Telling the story of a small group of men and women alone on a dying planet. They are linked to the animals through technology they wear, and possibly more. This is both what used to get called over here boys' own adventures, a gorgeous world in tonally perfect writing and art, and it has an environmental message in its narrative. As a reader, you can live for hours on each page. The highest of recommendations. Consistently great. Comics. Long may Ghost Machine run. So there we go. What do you think, folks? No surprises that Rook is on the list there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's true, Fim, on it. Year-end lists are weird. You get some single issues, people putting whole ongoings on the list, entire graphic novels. I was looking at the AIPT one. There's actually two. They've got part 1 and part 2 up, and there are some, shall we say, interesting choices. If I have time, I might cover that later, but I might leave that till next week. Grey and Salty, where will comics be in 10 years? This is a good question, Zaxx. Will it be all digital, like webcomics, webtoons? Or will there still be physical copies? Will it just be down to Kickstarters, funded by the public? I don't know, we'll have to see. But it's a good question, but let me keep on with this. This is one you won't have heard of, I'm sure. Printopia. This is by Bob Fingerman. And by the way, just let me say at this point, what a fantastic name. Bob Fingerman. Anyway, don't be rude. Criminally ignored by UK comic shops and elsewhere, this was a late nomination into the list. Swift on the lightning boots of his career retrospective, and just before the Illustrators magazine feature, Bob Fingerman dropped this 100-and-something page graphic novel. Now, speaking of Kickstarter, Zaxx and guys out there, I think this was kickstarted. A brilliant and slightly more elaborate than normal framing sequence snags the reader into reading a series of vignettes. These character-driven sequences show the mad, bad, deluded, and more characters in a certain corner of Manhattan. Each figure having a figment to accompany their thoughts, a floating muse that reflects or contradicts the featured dropout's thoughts. Bob is back in the landscape we saw in Minimum Wage, but with all new celebutants of their dreams. There's a dirty and balmy, potty, eccentric elegance to Bob's work that's amplified here through a grubby underlay of tones and some spikes of narratively driven sharp colour. Oversized and underappreciated. Get your copy from Cosmic Line Productions. So there we go. Speaking of small press, that's one. Printopia, and that's the style. It reminds me of the Mad Magazine, Salty and Dwayne. You know, that kind of style. Do you know what I mean? Look at that, Matt Groening, whatever you think of him at the moment. He's got a quote on the cover. Brilliantly written, masterfully drawn, funny as hell. Okay, keep going. Now, this might surprise you folks. Batman Dylan Dog. This came out. Yes, it came out, although I don't think many people were reading it. This is Tony's opinion. This is easily the best Batman comic I've read in the last 5 years. Mamma mia. Possibly even further back. This is actually, and finally, an English translation of a 2019 Bonelli release, the Italian Dylan Dog, Nathan Never, Tex, Zagora Publishers. Written by Roberto Recchioni with art by Luigi Cavinago and Werther del Edera, this manages to capture both characters and their respective casts perfectly. The art is up there with the best we've ever seen in the Bat. Sadly, we haven't seen any decent packaging of a collection, as there's just a frill-less trade available. There we go. Excuse me. I did read it, by the way. I read Batman Dylan Dog, and I think it's great. It's definitely a European approach to Batman. There's a Batman Joker story, you can see there. Catwoman's there as well, with a really cool villain, a really threatening villain in it. Okay, just a couple more. And I was very happy to see this on here, because this is on mine as well, folks. Spoilers, on Gray's list we have Falling in Love on the Path to Hell. This is a series that came out of nowhere for me and then kept making it to the top every Wednesday. I remember reading the first issue in the Departures Lounge, heading to Heroes Con in North Carolina, and then racing to the LCS when I landed to grab a physical copy. Jerry Duggan and Gary Brown weave something that deals with bad people in bad places. But then you begin to cheer at least a couple of them onwards. Not only to survive, but to flourish. See the title. Crazy title, by the way. It was a kind of a penchant for long titles this year. Anyway, death, life, redemption and damnation, all in the pages of a monthly comic series. What a time to be alive. There is a trade out of the first arc and a plea from this reader that this isn't a surprise mini-maxi series. I know, I'm the same. I hope it continues, but I've got a feeling it might just end up being, 10, 12 issues. That it's hoping, as far as from what I've read, what I've heard, Jerry Duggan said is, depends on support, depends how it sells, but they're hoping to keep it going as long as it can. Okay, let's get back to you for a sec. Pause the reading here. So it's not me, it's YouTube. I told you, I've got it on the lowest setting. Just get ad blocker. That's what I do. Gray's getting greedy with all these ads. Dwayne saying, catching up on Transformers right now. I tell you what, I don't know if you saw, I know Salty saw it, the Superman trailer live reaction. I've just left it as it was. I knew it would happen, but I think it happened to everybody. It got claimed, it got demonetized not straight away. It lasted about 24 hours. It got one of the most views of my live streams ever. I think it got about 500 views totally. Couldn't believe it. It was great talking with Jim about that. And I'm leaving it up. I'm not editing it. I'm just going to leave it as it is. We watched the trailer and then we just kind of break down quite a lot of the scenes. It was good to get Jim's take. Yeah, but anyway. Didn't get a strike, copyright strike, just a claim. It's Warner's apparently. They do it salty with anything trailer like. So I don't care. Who cares? Just leave it as it is. But yeah, it was a good discussion with Jim. So here's one, guys, I've never heard of. You might have heard of this. Again, this is a European comic, as far as I know. Thorgal Saga, Wendigo. And this is the Never Ein Anything podcast and WordPress site. Tony saying, admittedly, this took me a while to read as it's in French and I'm rubbish. But I leafed through it and looked at the art on the train journey back from Angoulême in January 2024 and found it incredibly inspiring. The French and those Belgians know what they're doing. Written by Fred Duval with art by Corentin Rouge, this feels like the comic that should have grown out of the British weekly comic tradition but never did. Thorgal and party travel from their lands to another and discover a war between tribes and their own particular deities. I'm hoping we get a big format translation soon. Then I can bore everybody that I was there first. Okay, should click on the art, see how it comes up. If it shows it. Great cover, by the way. Pretty cool there. Look at that. Yeah. It's, as I say, is it bande dessinée style, isn't it? French style. Looking cool. Let's skip this. Get down to one here. Might be interesting for indie fans. Hate Revisited. Here we go. Anyone out there reading this? I missed it the first time round. I've not picked this up because, I don't know, I don't really know much about it, but I might try it after this recommendation. Hate Revisited. If this isn't ignored, as it has been in a number of corners, then the casual reviewer may say something flattering along the lines as, "You can come home," or flitting back into the groove it left years ago. But what Bag, is it Bag or Bagay, has in fact done is use his own style to comment on what is happening now, out there in the argumentative world. Sure, we see Buddy as the put upon, not really put upon every man, but he's more than that. The frustrations of an auto-bio comic in 2024 are on show, with current world affairs and grievances creeping in at the sides, from below and above. A few series made an attempt at a comeback this year. This was my favourite. So, Hate Revisited, folks. Anyone reading it? Fear Monarch, how about you? Dwayne? Let's have a look. Hate! Yeah. I didn't read the original one, so I don't know much about it, but me old brother Mick, he was recommending the original series. He said it was pretty good. So, something I've never read. Okay, scroll down a bit more. I'm going to skip the really unknown ones, but look, this was a surprise from Tony because he's not the biggest Marvel fan. Doom Marvel One Shot made his list. A surprise from Marvel, their first and only re-entry on this yearly Never Eyeing Anything list. A fact that I do find incredibly sad, in all honesty. This was an impulse buy on Comixology and then an earlier than usual rush to a comic shop to grab a copy. Upon my arrival at the LCS, nobody was talking about it. Jonathan Hickman and Sanford Green have made something that perhaps feels out of continuity, but is only comparable to the glory 70s days of the Cosmic at the same company, and maybe some Jack at DC. I just reread it before preparing this list and it still stands up. Thoughtful, full of action and epic all at once. Yeah, I read this like right back. I need to reread it. So yeah, I definitely need to reread this. I think Salty enjoyed this one if I recall correctly. What did you think? Doom was good. Yeah, thought you liked that. Okay, cheers, Fear Monarch. Peter Bag, is it Bag or Bag 8? Is remarkable at how he wrote my teenage life into a comic before I was blowing out my 7th birthday candles. That's talking about the comic Hate, yeah, and Hate Revisited. Interesting. Yo, nice to see you, man. Disgruntled. Did a live stream on it, Superman trailer. So if you want to have a look at that, we talked about it with Jim from Weird Science Comics. Yeah, overall we're pretty impressed. You know, I'm like ever the optimist, as everyone knows in the chat, so I thought it was okay. It's Bag. Thanks, man. Baguette? Is it Peter Baguette? No, I'm joking. Okay, we have a weird one here. The Scrapbook of Life and Death by J. Webster Sharp. Look at this. Ooh. Avery Hill make it back on the list again this year. This new release from J. Webster Sharp takes a step away from a more autobiographical approach and delivers from a historic swerve. Where are we? It tells short and strange stories grabbed from a scrapbook, but does so with a stylistic twist. There we go. So kind of dark, experimental, this kind of style. This is, I think it's, this might be on Global Comics, I'm not sure. I need to double check. Just a couple more here. Steamroller Man. Few things bash my buttons as much as a pile of mad magazines. With that tradition pretty much made unalived, where can I find a similar joy? You may feel the same way. If so, Steamroller Man from Matthew Schofield is your answer. Available at his site, or it is on Global Comics this. I've read a couple of these and they are funny. This is a style you can see. Completely bonkers character. Was it Kurtzberg? Kurtzberg City! This is the best city in the whole wide world. Why I love it so much it makes me want to sing. And there's the cover. The ad-libbed adventures of Steamroller Man. The sinister sweetness of Sugar Daddy and his gingerbread golem. Completely bonkers, but pretty awesome cover design there. I do like that. That's it. There we go. That's it for... just going to go back to the top to show you the band, the masthead. Never Iron Anything, the comics review show. And he also has a podcast to say it's worth listening to. His podcast is solo, and he does kind of create reviews or chats with friends. It's a bit more, what's the word? Small press, focused. The Awesome Comics podcast, I do recommend that. That's worth listening to if you fancy a British take on what people are reading in the UK, what's popular. And also, they do have some really good creator interviews on there. Who was it? Fred Van Lente was just on. The guy he's done quite a lot of work with Valiant Press in the past, and I think he's still working with them. Fred Van Lente's interview was very interesting because he talks a lot about making comics, how you go about making them and ideas, inspirations, things like that. Actually, I'll bring up the homepage while I'm talking. Awesome Comics podcast. It's it's available like Spotify, wherever, everywhere. Podbean. Just want to try and get the homepage. Give you an idea what it looks like. There we go. Let's just share the screen. Look at Gray shilling for the Awesome Comics podcast. But yeah, it's really fun. It's good. It's a good laugh. So as I say, the latest episode was episode 494. Fair play, guys. They're getting close to 500. Learn to write comics with Fred Van Lent. Previously, we had that Bob Fingerman, the comic book I was talking about before, Printopia. He was really funny. He's a good interview. Anyone else popping up? Are comics still making us happy? That was a really good talk about, just generally what's going on with comics these days, why we love comics. So, and Cullen Bum was on a few weeks ago as well. So yeah, worth a look, worth a listen to if you fancy it. They have like their recommendations as well, and then they do like an interview, and then they'll just do general comics book talk at the end after the interview. So it's a good site. It's worth listening to. Okay, get back. Let's get back to you. Who's here? Yo, Michael, how you doing, man? Good to see you. We were talking about Ultimate Spider-Man before 12 and the new Amazing Spider-Man relaunch yet again. Was it now volume 9 it's up to, or is it 10? With Joe Kelly as the main writer taking over, coming out in April. Toronto has great Comic Con, says Dwayne. Toronto. I'd love to go to an American Comic Con one day that actually has comics in it. I talked about this before, but I went to 2 in Japan, 1 in Tokyo and 1 in Osaka, and I couldn't hardly find any comics. Seriously, I'm not joking, it's ridiculous. It was basically, it's meet the celeb, get your selfie, pay loads and loads of money to have a photo with a celeb, meet a movie star, lots and lots of cosplay, and then an artist alley, and that was the only reason I really went. First of all, I went to help a friend, Ginger Ninja. I was helping him with his booth, and that was the only part where you got some comic book art. There was one stall selling used old American comics in pretty crappy condition. That was it. One tiny stall with a few long boxes. Like, how could they call it a Comic Con? But I'm getting distracted. Ranting away. Indies is where it's at, baby. Hello, Morning Haze. Nice to see you. And Merry Christmas to you too. Getting in the mood for Christmas. Get excited. I can't wait. Only a few more days now. It's the 21st. Countdown is on the way. Countdown here. Come on. Wow, look at that. We're on 49 minutes already. Gray's almost reached his target of waffling solo for an hour. With the help of the wonderful chat, of course. You guys and girls out there in the chat, you keep me laughing, you keep me smiling, keep me sane, keep me alive, keep me hoping. I meant to click on Zaxx's comment, but as I clicked, I got Dwayne's popped up. My LCS puts on shows, comic book eccentric. Grey equals booth babe. I was wearing a very sexy. Actually, no, it was December, so it was really cold. I was all wrapped up, showing a bit of leg, trying to draw people into the booth. Okay, Michael, good to get your thoughts. I didn't like Ultimate Spidey this week. I mean, it's the same thing every month. ASM has been okay so far. I didn't really enjoy it that much either. It was very slice of life drama, soap opera, but I like the Christmas flavour to it, I gotta say. Do admit that. I like the Christmas flavour. But yeah, it wasn't great. As far as ASM, I don't know, mate. It just feels like the same thing happening every issue at the moment with that, 8 deaths of Spidey. Fight to the end of the next level, beat the level boss. Even if you get killed, you live again. It's just no stakes. It's really weird. Gray, you gotta just bite the bullet and fly over here with an empty suitcase. Raid the dollar bins. I'm going to do it. I am. I'm definitely going to do it one day. Just got to say, you know what I mean? The price of air tickets has gone insane since a certain thing happened a few years ago. Yeah, I need to get back to the UK at least once. Go and pay my respects to my mum and dad. Not been back since, Anyway, they passed away. So, well, my dad passed away. So yeah, but apart from that, yeah, I want to go to the States. But how am I going to see everybody there? You're all over the place. How am I going to meet Nosferatu and Salty and Zaxx, Dwayne, Fearmonit, Michael, everybody? We have to have a big meetup somewhere, but yeah. where is a place that everyone could go easily? Nowhere, right, in the States. Instead, let's all go to Hawaii. Oh no, wait a minute. That defeats the object, doesn't it, of getting comics? Batman and Robin Year 1 Issue 3 is really good, Dwayne. Yes, I've only just read that. I'm behind on DC, catching up. Had a bit of a crazy busy week with work and stuff. So yeah, but really, really good. As I read it just before, not long before I went live. I enjoyed Absolute Batman Issue 3 as well. I did have that lined up to show you, to share. Should we have a look at some art from Absolute Batman? G.I. Joe 2, I've not got to it yet, Michael. It was good, was it? Good, looking forward to reading that. Savage Sword of Conan, excellent. Hawaii is an expensive, homeless-infested commie. Vegas meetup, says Blair. Oh my god. Let's do it. Right, we're still here, aren't we? Yeah. Should we have a quick look at Absolute Batman 3? Some cracking art in this, by the way. Really good, I thought. Just share there. Let's have a look. How's it looking? If I go bigger, does it make the page a bit bigger? It does, doesn't it? Yes. And go full screen. So we started off with a flashback. We got young Selina and Bruce, exploring on the rooftops, playing, being daredevils. And we get a very strange, huge double-page spread with a very blacked-out image of a lion. I bet that saved time, didn't it? Nick Dragoda, just saying, no, I'm joking, mate. This is where it got fun. The scenes with Alfred, this version of Alfred and Batman. Some great action scenes here when they're fighting the party animals, the Black Mask, the soldiers. It's pretty cool. It was a crazy scene where the driving, the bat dumper truck is too slow, so they're getting taken over, of course, by the motorbikes. And then Batman's he's going to make it go faster. What does he do? He hits a button, the roof drops lower for some reason, and then get these kind of weird exhaust ports blowing out blue flame or blue smoke. It's insane. The sweet smell of kerosene burns my nose as we rocket forward. Homemade jet engines. It's just insane. It's goofy, it's fun, it's inventive. I'm enjoying it. I mean, I think this art is awesome. Look at the perspective, look at the paneling, the way he breaks down the images, the focus. There's a lot of shadow, a lot of use of silhouette. Really good. Onomatopoeia. Is it actually handwritten or not, though? It's hard to tell. I don't think that clank is in the top panel, but the toka 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 looks like it might be. Party animals flying through the air. Brilliant. Yeah, good stuff. And in this universe, we've got... This is Commissioner Harvey Bullock. Harvey Bullock's a commissioner. It's pretty cool. Interesting. Yeah, good stuff, good stuff. I won't show the whole thing. I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, I just wanted to share a little bit. Absolute Batman. Really fun, I thought. It's bonkers. Is it the best of the Absolute titles? It's better than Superman and Wonder Woman, in my opinion. Yeah, that is some excellent point of view and art in the issue. It is ridiculous, I know, but it's sure pretty. It's pretty, Salty. I think it looks great. Yo, Creamy Farts here in the chat. Brilliant. Good to see you again. Absolute Batman still upsets me. Really? Oh no, it's a shame. He's still angry brick man. Yeah. Yeah, no, fair enough. I'm enjoying Alfred. I think the most out of all the characters. And I like the scenes where it goes back to the past. It shows Bruce as a young boy and all the future villains are kind of his buddies. Yeah, it's crazy, it's bonkers, but I like that. Chris Samney should be the regular Batman artist, Dwayne says. Yes, I mean with the fantastic, what do you call it, Batman Robin Year 1. His art in that is so good, isn't it? Mind-blowing. Do I still have the file up? I just want to show a little bit. If you've not read it yet, don't worry, I won't be spoiling it, but just check out some of this art, folks. Well, I've got Dwayne's comment on there as well. Here we go. Oh, just skip that, by the way. Look at this. There's a Batman First Night hardcover collection coming out. Really great art in that, by the way. Mike Perkins, Dan Jurgens writing that. Recommend that if you fancy a kind of one and done pulpy 1920s, is it, or 30s set Batman story. Here we go. So we started off with some plotting here, some criminals, of course. You get the idea. His style is kind of blocky style, but I love the use of shadow. I love the use of the colours in here as well. I think he does the colouring as well. I might be wrong on that. I have to double check. Let's get to some action. I mean, look at this. Look at the lettering here. Good stuff here, yeah. That middle panel with like the machine, like brack, machine gun. Just cool. It's a very stylistic, stylized. You got the old style Alfred. You can see your bald patch. But yeah, it's a lot of talky, this one, isn't it? But when we actually get to the Robin scenes, the action, scroll ahead and show you a little bit of Robin. Here we go. This is where it gets really good. And Two-Face is here, tied to a chair. Oh my God, what's going on? Someone's flipping his coin. How dare they? Great action, Robin. Yeah, it's a kind of it starts off with you get a lot of backstory with the criminals, what's going on, and there's quite a lot of Bruce and Alfred. But when the action kicks in, when we get Robin, it's pretty focused on Robin, on Dick Grayson. It was nice to see. Enjoyed that. Yeah, good issue. Thanks, Dwayne, for the reminder. Vegas, I'm coming, baby, one day. Can we all meet up in Vegas? Is it easy to do that? Dwayne saying, I like the absolute books so far. Excellent point of view art. Oh yeah, going back to that, isn't it? Yeah. Alfred is interesting, but maybe I'm a jaded lover. I know what you mean. It's a weird take on Bruce so far on Batman in this. He's kind of like a Dark Knight Returns style, but just not mature, the young version, but they've gone Dark Knight Returns-y. It's Scott Snyder, so it's a little bit all over the place, isn't it? Mark Wade, Chris Samney's Black Widow 1-12 is a recommendation from Dwayne. Yes, I agree, I would second that. Batman First Night is also highly recommended. Good to hear, man. Okay. If that's about it, we're hitting the hour mark, folks. It's time for Gray to say goodnight. No, I'm joking. It's 2:30 p.m. here in Japan right now. Afternoon plans are, I think I need to do some, I've got to do some cooking. It could be today or tomorrow. I need to make a homemade chicken curry. Looking forward to that. And I'm going to be cooking something for Christmas as well. Christmas Day. Going to make a big gratin. Can't wait. So, yeah. Looking forward to it. Next week is going to be what? It'd be the 28th. If I do it on Saturday my time. So 27th Friday for you. Friday night. If I do a stream next week, it's going to be a post-Christmas, but end of the year maybe review. Should we do that next week? That'd be good. It'd be good to get some people on. You want to shout out your picks of the year. It's going to be difficult to keep it limited, but what do you reckon if we do a top 5, not a top 10, because it would take too long? Can you limit it to 5 books or comics this year which you think have been really good? That'd be cool. Invite Zaxx and me on. What, you mean now? Zaxx never comes on anymore, does he? Go for it. Says Michael, I might do it. What are you doing on KFC Day, Christmas Day? I'll be drinking too much throughout the day, hopefully eating too much, hanging out with some of my buddies online, I guess. The daughter's not coming home, she's working over Christmas, New Year, so just me and Mrs. Wakizashi. I think she's got work as well, so, you know, Japanese holidays don't really kick in until New Year here, so. But I'm off. Guys, I'm off from Christmas Eve. Almost there. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Zaxx is too cool for school. Yeah. I'll send you the link if you want to come on for, like, a quick chat, but let's see. Hang on a minute. No, I don't want to share screen. Invite. Copy. Salty what you like. Putting pressure on poor Gray. So what we do is we go over to Twitter. Is it X Twitter? Zaxx. Oh, okay. Here you go. I'll send it to Zaxx and see what happens. No pressure, mate. Where's Salty? Salty, here's yours. That means I've got to get headphones and stuff ready. Oh, Jesus. Putting the pressure on Gray. But yeah, I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts on maybe the Superman trailer. If people are interested, or just generally. We don't have to do review of the year yet. That's for next week, but you're welcome to come in. I've got my headphones ready. Dwayne's like, loads of beers and bourbon cheerses. Yeah, I can't wait, mate. I can't wait for Christmas Day and Christmas Eve. I'm going to be watching things like The Muppet Christmas Carol. We have to put that on. Maybe I'll watch an old one as well, a classic version. I don't know. The Snowman. Raymond Briggs, The Snowman. Got to watch that. That's a Christmas tradition. We'll see. See what happens. It's funny. You send the link and then no one comes. No one shows up. Okay, brilliant. Jim sent me the link to our last review. We haven't put it up yet. Animal Man 17. I can play a bit of that in a minute. Shall I play a little bit of that? You've not heard the Animal Man thing for a while, have you? Theme tune. Hang on a minute. See, will this work if I try and share it? Share the window. It'll have to be the window. Yes. Also share audio. To share audio, share a tab or screen. Oh no, it won't work. It won't work. I've got to share a tab. Got you. Okay, never mind that. That's too bad. But looking forward to we actually recorded this not this week, last week. We've been so busy we've not got a new one done yet. And Jim was so busy he forgot to upload it, so it's been sitting in Jim's computer. He sent it to me, so I'm going to be editing it. Ready to go ape. I know, right? I know. Oh man, what a shame I can't share it. It only works as a page. It's downloaded. Okay, there we go. Right. Instead of that. So maybe Salty and Zaxx talk about next week. You're welcome to join next week, definitely. To say I just sent the link and no one's come. Nobody came. Let's go to me Animal Man. I want to play the Animal Man song now. You got that in my head. Where is it? Where's the last one? It's been ages since we reviewed Animal Man, so we went back to it. Where are we with the last one? I think it was in July. Animal Man, was it 16? Yeah. Share screen. Okay, well, I'm going to blast this out with some Animal Man. Here we go, folks.
Japanese AI.
Thank you.
I'm here for Grant Morrison, and we'll love him to the day we die. Hey, hey, it's Animal Man, and it's gonna be great. Hey, hey, it's Animal Man, and we are gonna go ape.
We're gonna go ape, Salty.
We're gonna go ape. We're gonna go bananas. We're We're gonna go, hey. We're gonna go.
This needs to be louder.
There we go. What an entrance. What an entrance for that. That is fantastic.
Fuck, dude.
How you doing? Are you good? Are you kinky?
Is anybody still watching? Jesus fucking Christ, that was loud.
I know. How awesome was that? It's got to be loud, Salty. It's Oasis. No, it's Jim Oasis. Jim Aces.
You had a good show tonight, and the chat was crushing it, man. It was
The
great.
chat was awesome. They were great.
Dude, I gotta check my settings. I had a hard time getting in because, like you said, they reset.
It's all changed, hasn't it? Yeah, just you check your settings there. I just want to thank Morning Haze for very, very kind $4.99 super sticker.
Oh,
that is fantastic.
brilliant.
Let's see what we've got.
Yeah.
What have we got to send or to play? Salty man. What do you recommend? Something funny. Have we got anything funny? Jesus, not really.
That one never gets.
Not that
old.
one. It's
That
too
one.
scary. I'll play you two. This is for you as well, Salty, from before.
Okay.
I'll play me Scouser clip because people don't know what
All right.
Scousers are. And Dead End Job. Come on.
This is the life, eh?
Hey,
Hey!
do you want to fight or something?
Down, eh?
Stinking dead-end job.
Hello, sweetheart.
There's my gal.
That's me coming home from work every day.
I thought it was another ad. I'm like, how can I have an ad in StreamYards? Jesus Christ.
Oh my god. I love that.
Yeah.
That's thanks to Fairmonic. Shout out to Fairmonic as well for sending me those couple of those clips. Are brilliant. I don't even know what that's from, Salty, that stinking dead end job. Ding! Hi honey, I'm home. Like, that's so cool. From Adult Swim. There. Oh, hello. Are you okay? Do you want to come in?
It's immigration.
Yeah. Salty, can you vamp for a sec? Mrs. Wakizashi's coming in and I've got to go
Sure.
mute.
So I hope everybody's going to have a good Christmas. It's fascinating to talk with people about what comic books they like. I went to my LCS today and picked some things up. This has actually been surprisingly decent. Just want to say that. So, and I will not settle down. You're not the boss of me. I just want to say that. So, but is it oh, great, Gray. That's awesome. Thanks. Yes. So yeah, here we go. We got, I hope it's facing the right way because everything's hosed up, but I got Batgirl. And this I picked up because I was told that Jim Zub is coming to the Emerald City Comic-Con in March, which is in Seattle. And I was just booking tickets actually for the Saturday, but I don't see Zub's name actually has an attendee for the Seattle Comic-Con, which is the only reason I would set foot in that city ever again, having lived there. And excuse me, I have to have the pause that refreshes. But I did pick up a blank Conan variant because I wanted at least Zub to sign it because these are getting harder and harder to find out there. You're pretty much just looking at the secondary market.
Oh my god, mate! Thanks for that song. She was like blasting the microwave. It's so funny. I had to like stay muted. You did well.
Gee,
thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad. Oh, shut up and show your comic.
Jesus.
So you got a blank Conan, yeah? A blank Conan variant. That looks awesome.
Yeah. Because Jim Zub's supposed to be at the Seattle Comic-Con in March, which I was buying tickets for before I rudely invited myself onto the show. And then I did pick up Batgirl.
Yeah, Batgirl.
Too. And I love
I'm
this
enjoying
cover.
that. It's pretty basic, but I'm enjoying it.
They're sold out at the LCS. It's fascinating to go in, and I'd said it in chat that I think Zaxx asked the question of where do I see comics in 10 years, and I'm going to tell you, I've gone to this LCS quite a bit, and the kids like what they like, and they do like My Hero Academia and all the manga and all that other stuff. But these kids actually, they do like certain characters, and it's interesting to see what they like. Like they really do like Nightwing. There was this girl who, I'm this creepy 50-something-year-old guy, and I was looking at her buy the last copy of Nightwing, and she rang it up at the counter, and this girl's counting out $6.30 and change out of her. I don't know what kids do for money these days, and she was so excited to get her Nightwing comic, and it's it's interesting to see that, but G.I. Joe sold out. Transformers, they used to have a bunch of back issues, like some of the middle run, completely gone this week. So you can, like, these kids, they're grabbing comics, but they're not grabbing a lot of Marvel. I can tell you that.
That's interesting,
you know?
because, well, the quality of Marvel, especially the art, you know, they used to be famous for art, Salty, didn't they?
Yeah, I know. Yes, Fear Mark. I was following around teenage girls at the comic book shop. Yes. I did get another copy of this. I did have the other cover that you like, Gray, that was really violent, and it's even better in person. But I'm learning with G.I. Joe, and I should have learned this lesson with Transformers. I do buy duplicates of probably the first 10 issues because you can always find a number 1, but it's the number 2s through 6s in a really popular first printings. In a really popular series, in my experience, that you have hell. Good luck trying to find it out there in the secondary market. And then, of course, I picked up my Space Ghost today as well.
Oh, that's lovely. Look at that. That's a beauty.
And then
I read
the last
Soldier, I'm not caught up on Space Ghost, but I read the latest issue, and it's really good. It's really good. I just jumped right in. I was fine.
Same thing with Flash Gordon. They had a blank. What the hell's wrong with my camera? They had
Flash
a blank
Gordon's great,
variant.
by the way. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Had a blank variant. Oh, great! There it is. My camera's. But yeah, it wasn't a big day. You know, just wanted to get out of the house a little bit and go for a ride. So.
Okay, I bought another version of TF issue 1 this week. TF issue 1. I can't remember what that is.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm blanking. Spazzing out. Space Ghost really is surprisingly good. Disgruntled. Okay, yeah. As I say, people kept recommending it to me, so I finally got around to reading the latest issue, and it's like, yeah, this is good. Good adventure. Space adventure.
I think TF is Transformers.
Okay, nice one. Gotcha.
Yeah. But it's kind of cool to get excited about these things. And the other thing I've been doing is slowly going back through the 2005 run with Omling, or what the hell's his name? Omling. The Red Sonja She-Devil with the Sword run from 2005, and filling in some of the blanks that I've had, just slowly picking away to try and, you know, complete my collection, you know, and then that's just about it. You know what I mean? But it is crazy to walk into a comic book shop, and I know everybody's in the numbers, and you prove this every time you do a show, Gray, is that Marvel seems to be selling more issues, but not where I am. Honest to God, people are pulling. It's Batman, Conan, it's more indies, but nobody gives a shit about any of the X-Men stuff. Nobody cares about Storm or Psylocke or any of that shit in my LCS. So I don't know where they're buying all these comic books.
I keep hearing from people like who are buying comics that it's hard to find, as you said, especially Absolute Batman, when they first came out, they sold out straight away, so they're doing well, of course. Spider-Man, though, you think like Spider-Man is a constant seller, but is that more people have it in their pull list, you know, permanently, and you don't get walk-ins to buy it, to pick it up?
I think, like, today, whenever I go in there, it's a bizarre mix of, like, dudes our age, and then occasionally you'll see nerds, like, in their 20s. Yeah. I'm fucking older than you. Give me a break. I'm going to be 55 in March, believe it or not. AARP, man. That's
You're right, Grandpa. There we go.
Shut up, you whiny bastard. But it's cool to see the kids in there. You know, like 12 to, you know, whatever, 17 years old or whatever it is. It's great to see them pick up these things. And I was going through, I was bending down to get into some back issues. And these girls who in high school, and they like, one of them had her hair like half pink and whatever. And she's talking about, oh my God, you've got to read this comic book. And she takes her friend to where all the indies are. And she's showing her all of the Red Sonja's, that run, and then Feral, and telling her she has to read these books. And it's just, I'm listening to this conversation while going through my comics, and I'm like, you know me, I have a bitter, blackened soul. But it's like, I'm like, it just gives me this little flicker of hope, you know?
Yeah, that's great to hear. Red Sonja, that surprised me, you're saying that, Salty.
Yeah.
We got Fame on it saying, when my shop over-order the big ASM events, they always sit at the store. I And I know Michael, you get most of the Spidey titles. He's a huge Spider-Man fan. He's, still supporting it. Ghost Spider has not been bad. Well, I'll tell you what, this will surprise you, and probably, Salted said this before, but I'm quite enjoying Spider-Boy. I know, right? And it was Jim, Weird Science Jim, that got me into that. It's a simple, fun, adventure story, which is very good for all ages. It's simple as that. And
Well,
I know it's danced a lot, but...
If it brings people to comics, that's cool. I mean, it would be like me commenting on that piece of shit movie Mufasa. It's not made.
There'll be no movie talk on this stream. Sorry,
it's not made for me. So why do I care?
No, I don't interest
care,
whatsoever.
But I do care about other comics, and I will talk positively or negative about that.
But that's you saw young women buying independent comics in the comic book shop.
Yes.
I thought women didn't read comics. That's what we've been told for years.
Well, in couples and fathers with their young sons, 8 between probably 8 and 11. I don't know how the hell old anybody is anymore, but boys running and he can get 2 or 3 comics. And what do they run for? And he ran for G.I. Joe. This 8-9-year-old kid is grabbing G.I. Joe. And they were down to, this was the only cover that they had. This is the second cover that I got, like I said. But he just grabbed the first one, and it was all beaten to shit. And I was going to say, don't you wanna? And I'm like, no, he's 8. Okay. He doesn't care about whether or not it's got,
doesn't care
if it's dinged up or if it's like a 6, as opposed to me. Like, I'm like, okay, this is surgically clean, but it's cool. Now, is that enough for a comic book shop to stay in business? Well, mine, the one that I go to, and I don't know. It's kind of cool because, the last 8 years, I think most of the movie studios and let's be honest, DC and Marvel have done their damnness, not just to destroy themselves. Okay. Let's be honest, by their bad decision making, but it's something that I've said in my videos, which is it's almost like their goal is to demoralize and drive people away from the hero's journey and the 3-act play and recognizable archetypes, because that seems to have been the only thing they've been good at, but it didn't work. It didn't work. And I think that, and I don't know if you and I were talking about that when we were last week or whatever it was, but if it's one thing that gives me hope is that these multi-billion or $1 million corporations out there, who they've actively tried to destroy themselves while also, it feels like, demoralize us for 8 years. And it didn't work. And not only did it not work on us bitter, burned out Gen X psychos like Ray and I, it didn't work on the kids. It didn't work on the kids, and that gives me hope, because that means some of these kids have that Wolverine's FU power and vibe in animus that we did. So that's me being positive.
So too, speaking of what is selling in comic book shops, I don't even remember. Do you remember there was a Twitter story when a comic book owner came out and said some things, and he got basically, jumped on and bullied. Do you remember that? Well, I subscribe to the channel. It's called the Comic Book Palace. Guy's called Glenn who runs it. This is a really good shop. He does new release videos, what's coming out, and they also do
I watch him.
Yeah, do you watch him?
Yeah.
The Comic Book Palace episodes where they have just customers talking about what they like and what's selling, so you get a little bit of an inside, look at what sells well. He talks about it. I wish he'd talk a bit more about what sells. He just mainly focuses on this is out, that's it. But yeah, this is a good channel worth checking, folks, if you're not subscribed.
It is interesting, and I do think some things are very regional. Being in the Pacific Northwest, everybody thinks that if you live in Washington State, it's like Seattle. It's not true. It's not at all. What I mean?
Massachusetts, it says. I don't even know what that is. I know the name from the
Bee
Gees
that's on
song.
the East Coast. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Massachusetts.
It's on the East Coast. Yeah. But I mean, it's a very big country. And it's interesting to see. I'm sure in Seattle they're all selling the My Sweet Paprika and all the furry homosexual stuff and whatever it is. I'm not even kidding. I'm not kidding. But out here, I mean, there's military bases, a huge naval presence out here. A lot of people here work for a living, which is why I moved out here. And they want good hero stories. They want G.I. Joe. They want Transformers. They want Batman to kick somebody's ass with a fucking ridiculous dump truck, and that's the kind of stuff that people want. So I don't know. I think what we're all learning is the last 8 years was the media, at least here in the United States, tried to convince us that there was this overwhelming majority of people who was all into all the bad decision making, like with entertainment, regardless of what it is. And it's not true at all. It is not true at all. In the minute somebody makes something good that is a pretty good story, like G.I. Joe or Flash Gordon, it sells. It makes a lot of money. And I don't know, man. It's fascinating to watch this whole illusion since COVID.
It is fascinating.
Literally, like, in real time collapsing, which is like should have happened years ago, but at least it's happening now.
Yeah, it's a really good question. It'd take a whole stream or a few streams to talk about it, where you see in the future. I really don't know, mate. I started getting a little bit into, believe it or not, web comics, and the quality of those, and the number of those is unbelievable, absolutely massive amounts. So finding a good one can be hard, but yeah, web comics seem to be a really big thing at the moment.
Webtoons, isn't that the site? I know Clownfish, I've watched them for forever, since before I had a channel. They used to be on there, and they've talked about how a lot of these sites have, unless you're one of these really super huge money earning creators, they're going to lock you into a contract where they're essentially going to steal your IP if it gets big. And, that's just a note of caution, but it's just the way the internet is working out right now. There's a lot of predatory bullshit out here, because the ad revenue is entirely dried up, which is why if you're watching this live, there's ads like me and I can't skip them. And it's black women selling black women hair care products. And I want to know, Greg, what are you looking at when you're not doing these live streams? Because it seems to be a very female, Afrocentric body.
I tell you what I get, Solly. Every ad I get is for booking.com. And I want to travel, of course, but I've not been checking that. But it's like it knows what I wish I could do and I can't. It's like every bloody time it's booking.com. It's like, come on, guys, give me a different ad for God's sake. It's like ruining my face in it. Here we go. We got a comment from Johnny Shen. At the moment, I think America is healing itself. Thank God, most Americans woke up and are increasingly rejecting all the nonsense we've been talking about for the last 6 years.
The fight is just starting. Don't be under any illusions. What we just found out is that we radically overnumber them, okay? Which I think a lot of us knew instinctually. But this fight has just started. You can tell by what's been going on within our legislative branch and what they tried to do. Once Don gets in office, that's when the fireworks start. They are not going to... the people who have been taking away our freedom and destroying our currency and our culture, all those things together are not happening independently, guys. They are not independent, okay? They're all part of a plan, and it's not because I'm a conspiracy theorist, okay? But the whole thing with this is the fight is just getting started, so buckle up, I know. But know this, we are legioned. We are legioned.
I'm sticking to comics. What do you reckon this one? If new comics go to $6 a new issue or even $7, they're gonna die, and they are. I think even the $4.99, which is so common now, they can't maintain that and get the numbers.
No, and that's why I pre-buy a lot of things, because I'll get it at 30 or 40% off list. Like I'm paid through February, the first week of February, and I paid that off in October, November, because of the huge discount. Because I can't sit in them, and a lot of it is like regular cover issue A stuff, where it's the cheapest thing. So instead of it being $5 or $6, it's $3 or $3.50 for me. And I'm willing to take a chance on some new series like that. Like I'll only buy the first 2 or 3 issues maybe, and then if I like it, I'll pick it up as a regular, which means I then pay a little bit more for it. But generally, I don't follow a lot of longer run stuff. The only new thing I've picked up is that new Batman series, Dark Patterns, which I really hope stays good. I really hope it stays good. But, dude, I've really loved the limited series stuff from Mad Cave and Image. I like these 4-6 issue runs that we have.
Me too.
I think it's great. I think it's, like Rook is good for that. I am looking forward to Redcoat, and I'm glad he's taking a little time off. I'm really glad he's going to take a little time off after 8. So, but to answer the question, $7?
No way.
No.
It's like on
Not
that note,
unless-
Salty, like $8.99 for Distillery. Distillery is a small independent company. They're $8.99 for
I know
magazine size. You know them, yeah.
I know them.
I got a comment on one of my videos, one of my random new comic book videos from one of the guys who runs it. And he just says thanks for the shout out. But it's like, I was, just gave a nice reply. But I was thinking, $8.99, mate. If I could get a physical, I might pay that. But if I've got to pay $8.99 for digital because I can't get physical, I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry, it's too much.
No. And I've picked those up, and are they pretty? Yes.
Yeah, they look nice.
But there's only one, and it was Josh from what is it? Comic Pop Culture Popped, I think. I'm butchering it, but he works with Max
I know Josh, yeah.
Yeah, Josh. But it's, he was talking about, he read an issue, or one of his guests did, of Life, that series of Life, and he said it was really, really good. But I don't have any interest in buying a magazine-sized comic unless it is Savage Sword of Conan, or if somebody were to redo something like an Eerie or a Monsters, or it was an anthology that was about, I don't know, maybe 80 pages of different great authors with different great art, and styles. I could see that, but I'm not that impressed by what Distillery does. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just looking at the wrong titles, No.
The other one that's really caught my eye was that the Blood Brothers Mother, the Old West one, the cowboy story. But it's not been coming out regularly. I think I just lost track of what issue it was, and I don't know. Fearmon, like I agree, it's pointless paying magazine price for a digital.
Yes. Yeah, it's in it. What's weird, and we were talking about prices, and I was having this conversation with Purple Valkyrie today, talking about a lot of independent comic books that are really hung up on this $25 price point, or this $35 price point, which, again, I'm going to say it. That was the price point that a lot of people set during COVID, when we were all locked down, when people couldn't get shit printed. Okay, most books like this cost, if it doesn't have a chrome cover, if it doesn't have a lot of bells and whistles, I'm going to be really generous and say between $3 to $6 to print a comic book. Okay, even with a 4-color press run. Okay, for you to go, and then they all add $10 to $12 for shipping in each comic book. Okay, so you're looking at a $25 comic book. So you're looking at $35 to get what? 48-page comic. Maybe if you're lucky, it's a 62-page, which you can almost rationalize. But this is the challenge with this, is a lot of these independent comic creators, you have to give a lot of value for money for me to give you something that is $35 fucking dollars, guys, for a comic book. It's a comic book. I don't get a steak sandwich with that. I don't get a car wash. It's a comic book,
So these are some of the current titles, and it's in Japanese yen. It does it automatically. 1,500 yen for an issue. 2,000 units, like it's too much. But Spectrograph, City Beneath the Feet, Dame's Tiny in both of those. Where are we? Warm Fusion. Now this was pretty good. Let me click on this.
I've heard of that. Yeah,
I got a review copy so I could actually read it, but I'm not going to pay like almost 2,500 yen for it. It's insane pricing.
Yeah.
It's just too
when
much,
you buy digital, you're paying for the artist time and maybe the server capacity of it. And one thing I am seeing is with a lot of these Kickstarters or Indiegogos, and even the really big artists like Mark Spears, who just did his Monster or Werewolf Monster, which I backed heavy, limited press run.
Yeah,
it's like $15 and you get all the comic books. You get 3 issues of these comic books, and he also gives you access to all of the variant covers. You can look on them on your reading device. That makes a lot more sense to me than, hey, it's $9 and you essentially you're buying you could buy Conan, you could buy you could buy Lord of the Rings, the entire book, for that amount of money on Kindle, as opposed to one comic book. And I know that's a shitty thing to say, and I know you can't put a price on art, but you also can. We only all have so much money, right? you know.
And yet Ghost Machine stays at $4, yeah, $3.99. Good on them for doing that. And the quality you get. As I say, yeah, Dwayne Geiger, Volume 1, $9.99. It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just hope we're still here, Salty, to enjoy them if they are still going. That's what I'm thinking about the future.
Honestly, I don't use this word on YouTube, but it's been a bizarrely good year in comic books. Like,
especially with indies. Yeah,
that's
for
what
the
I'm
majority.
referring to, and I'm just talking about. I mean, I'm talking about GI Joe, Transformers, everything that I'm looking at right here. And there's been some interesting stuff. I think, you know, I'm not a huge fan of any of the Absolute titles. I'm collecting all of them because I'm a completionist. But they're not blowing my hair back the way something like Feral or Rook or Space Ghost or Savage Sword of Conan, which I know you're not a big fan of.
The main Conan too.
In the Conan, and I like Blackstone. I think the ending issue 4 was a little rushed, but you know.
Nosferatu says, tell Salty to shut up and finally play Cyberpunk. So what's on about that? Yeah, so if you had to pick a mainstream, so DC or Marvel, a big 2 title that stood out for you, apart from that Doom one-shot from Marvel this year, like, what springs to mind? You know, that think, this was really good. Even just one issue, I don't know. It's hard, isn't it?
You know, I actually really do like the Nightmare Country, just because it takes me back.
James Tynion one.
Like you, I'm a huge fan of the original Sandman and Neil Gaiman run. I have the complete set of the graphic novels. I have the radio plays, which are outstanding on Kindle, full cast audio.
The Audible ones are amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that universe in so I can be very forgiving with that title, just because, and especially the last issue, one of the variant covers had Death, the old school looking Death on the cover with
the original Death, yeah, the one that wasn't changed for Netflix, but I won't talk about that. By the way, I thought we could say Neil Gaiman's name on the internet anymore, because it's surprisingly gone very, very quiet, hasn't it? Anyway, we're not going to get into that here, but yeah, I agree. That was the first Dream Country. Is it not Dream Country?
Yeah.
Nightmare Country was really good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. It's the new one with Hollywood, and I can't remember every title because it's Friday. You know, it's been a long work week. We'll just say that. And
same here, mate. Salty. I didn't mention this when I went live, but I hit the sack. I went to bed 9:30. I slept 11 hours last night. For me, Friday night, I was wrecked.
That's good.
I feel great now.
I went to bed at like 9:30, but I read because I'm reading the Howard Conan. I'm through the short stories and I'm reading the longer form stories now, and I just don't want to go to sleep because I'm in Hyboria with my boy Conan, man, and I'm reading
with my boy
all this great shit. It's great, and it's made me. You know, when you can alternate between a really good comic book version of Conan, something that mimics the art style from the 70s, because you and I were kids when Conan Volume 1 came out. And no one can replicate the original art. And I want to say it was Buscema that was doing the Conan Volume 1 run. Do you remember?
I need to double check. Yeah, I know there's a few artists.
Roy. But,
oh my God! Well, Roy Thomas was one of them ones, wasn't he? But I don't know. Was he the writer? Let me have a look. I'm gonna have to do.
Yeah,
because I've got no brain, Salty.
To answer your question, I mean, what's a bright spot for me? I love Feral. I've loved the Conan, the Barbarian run. What else have I really liked? I liked Doom quite a bit. I liked Batman Full Moon. I think it's uneven, but I like the art a lot. And again, you got to remember, I got back into comic books in September, August is when I really kind of started picking everything up and feeling my way along as to what I wanted to collect and why, and I'm still learning. But
let's see, Barry Windsor Smith was the artist on the original Marvel Conan at the beginning. Roy Thomas was writer, yeah. But like is it John Buscema or Sal Buscema, or they were part of it too. The Savage Sword ones, yeah.
Good night, Nas.
Nas, good night, mate. Merry Christmas to you. If I don't speak to you before, My God, it's Wednesday, isn't it? Coming up Wednesday, Sally. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Are you? I'm not.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'm gonna be doing a live. It was requested I do I think it's my 3rd or my 4th annual Christmas Eve music live show.
Ooh, okay.
So I've already got that package put together, and then I'll run the music and pause it, and I'll do a live and respond to people, and just do that because it just people asked for it, and so I'm gonna go ahead and do it. So
sounds good to me, man. I will be there if it's the time that that I'm actually awake, not in the middle of the night in Japan. Johnny Shen, anyone into collecting Spawn? Not really. I was reading it with the relaunch, Johnny, a couple of years ago with the Spawn universe. I got quite into it, and I thought it was very good, especially King Spawn and Gunslinger Spawn. They were great, but I've kind of dropped off recently.
For me, it was when the original run came out when McFarlane was a young pup.
Oh yeah,
it was that's when I think of Spawn. That's and I've got a couple covers by him.
Yeah, awesome.
Printings. And it's just he redefined comic book art for a while, and I you can see how he successfully parlayed that into a toy company. So the man is not only creative, but he's got great business sense.
100%. I think I might have it somewhere. Yeah, the first maybe 10 issues of Spawn when he's doing the art, Todd McFarlane. Oh my God, really, really good.
Agreed. Yeah. But. What
Jeez,
about you? What do you? I mean, you just talked about what your highlights were, but if you had to be unpolitically correct and someone held a gun to your head and said, "Gray, if you can take one comic series or one limited run with you on a desert island and from this year, which one would it be?"
Bloody hell! I need to think about that. Just one run from this year, yeah. From this year, Mamma Mia.
I know. I was like,
Ghost Machine, one of the Ghost Machines, whether it's Rook,
that's what I was. It's either going to
Rook or Red Coat for the fun.
Yep,
and even Geiger.
Those are the ones. Yep, those are the 3 I was going to say. Yeah, Geiger has been great, and what I've liked is the evolution of their covers. It's almost like as they've realized more commercial success, they're putting more into the cover work than say some of the earlier ones. You know what I mean? I really like how detailed and varied they've been over the last couple of issues. It's almost heartbreaking to reject the other covers that are out there because they've just been so great to complement the interior art and story.
We've got a special guest, Salty, coming in hot from the Canadian outback. Guess who it is?
I am very late and mildly gay.
It's true.
Yeah. What's going on, guys?
Nothing. He just said you were coming in from the Canadian bareback. I'll be right
back. Is there such a thing? Zaxx, how you doing, man? It's been ages.
It has. I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. Looking forward to Christmas. That was a great question you posed, by the way. It's very difficult to answer the future of comics. How about you? Where do you see it going?
I don't know. I'm hopeful for you guys, for your sake, that it sticks around in some form, and I think that it probably will, but it seems like it's becoming more and more niche, and there's this is outside, right? So I don't have any kind of insider info at all, but there's more and more people creating their own. There's more and more of these indie comics coming out, which isn't a bad thing, but how many readers are there to support all of these major labels, plus all the indies coming out, and the price of the indie comics is so high. How many of those can people support? And will the future generations of people, like the kids in the 20s now, when they're in their 30s and they have real money to throw around, are they going to still want to support these books at that rate? And I would like it to be true, but I'm wondering what you think.
How about your kids? Or your kids, are they reading comic books? Are they into manga or anything?
Manga. My oldest, he buys manga. He buys the classic stuff too. He buys all of the Batman stories, the good ones, the classic ones. Nice, Jolly Roger.
Oh, nice, Jolly Roger.
Attaboy. Christmas Jolly Roger.
Ho, ho, ho. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No. No, he buys manga, and he buys a lot of manga, reads a lot of manga, watches anime like every other kid, but he does buy the classics. He loves Batman, so he buys all the big Batman stories, but nothing new. No floppies either.
No floppies, right. Too expensive, aren't they, for kids these days? Unless you're loaded.
And I gave him some of my floppies to read. He doesn't really know how to read floppies, if that makes sense. Like he treats it like it's delicate art, which it is, but these are reader copies, right? So you can just read it, but he's used to sort of the more, I guess, rough and tumble graphic novel binding book where it's not worth anything. You're just going to read it and pass it on.
Yeah.
And so that's what I don't think he's ever been and bought a single floppy in his life. Everything else is on Amazon.
That's it. This is true.
Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, but at least they're reading this stuff. I mean, are there any titles? I mean, other than manga, is he into anything else? I mean, G.I. Joe, Transformers. I mean, anything? Is there any stuff that you went, hey, check this out, from stuff that you like, where he's like, that's really cool, or no?
I tried hard with some of the classic X-Men stuff, and he just really he likes the movies, but in terms of the books, it's really just Batman. He loves the Batman stories.
Yeah.
And that's the most it's the most common, really, other than Superman, who kind of has that big Boy Scout thing going on. It's not as cool for kids to like Superman. Hopefully it will be again, but
agreed.
Yeah, and I think the movies were a good gateway because when he was really growing up, when he was young, it was the Nolan Batman movies that were coming through, right? Mm-hmm. And so I took him to see those, probably too young, but that's what those are great films. That was a great version of that character, and so he got into Batman at that point. And really, at that time, there wasn't the Marvel stuff. Those comics were dead because if you go watch MCU movies, those comics are not what's in the movies. So he never got into that at all. And it was just the Batman stuff.
It's crazy though, dude, because I mean, we've all talked about it, and other big channels especially talking about how you had the MCU blowing up, and yet the Iron Man that is on the screen is not the Iron Man that is in the comic books. And the same thing with all these goddamn characters. And I think the downstream effects from that are truly being felt. I had another story from going to the comic book shop today, and you know how DC and DC especially has been putting out reprints of like big issues from from sort of stuff that we would recognize, like Crisis on Infinite Earth. So I was standing there listening to these two boys. They're probably like 13, 15 years old, and he grabs Crisis on Infinite Earth, and I think it's the reprint number 5 they're on, and he's, look at how stupid this is. He's like, look at this. They could just make up all these infinite universes, and nothing means anything, and nothing matters, and nobody cares, and they can just write over stuff. And he puts the comic book in, he jams it back in. He's like, why would anybody read that? And I'm like, holy shit, this kid is gangster.
No shit.
Listen to this guy. I mean,
gangster.
He's what, 30 years, 25 years removed from something that for us, that happened for the first time in a lot of these comic books that are classics. But he's been seeing nothing but this multiverse of mediocrity, nothing matters, his entire life. So It's fascinating to listen to these newer comic book readers in their takes on this, because I'm sure we sounded just like the same kind of assholes back in the 80s when we were picking things up, to the guys that loved the comics from the 50s or 60s or 70s,
You know what? That's a good point, Salty, because I remember when I collected too those every copy mattered, every issue mattered, everything was canon, and nothing was going to be wiped away. I never bought a comic thinking that was a possibility, but
agreed.
But now I can see why bother, because it's going to be reset, rebooted, and I don't know if it could have been a thing that was happening at the time or they were planned in the future, but I would not be aware of it because I'm a kid buying comics. There's no internet.
Well, I mean, and again, do I agree with the kid entirely? No, because again, I'm coming from a place of, being 50 plus years old. There were a lot of firsts, like, The Watchmen was the first time they did The Watchmen. Same thing with The Dark Knight, same thing with, The Killing Joke, same thing with, just countless comic books. When we start talking about even stuff like Crisis on Infinite Earth or Civil War, the first time they did Civil War. These were big, impactful things because there were no do-overs. There were actually stakes with this, as opposed to, there's like 10 titles with Spider-Man or Batman or the Bat family.
Right.
Where, if you don't like this story, well, you can go see this twink Batman who's getting railed by, like whatever. it just... But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Batman is
Right.
a lifestyle brand,
Have you guys seen
Yes.
these? These have come out recently. DC Finest. It's like they're collecting, Batman Year 1 and 2, Superman from the beginning. It's they're really thick. They're about 500 pages, so you get not just the Year 1 storyline. You get some of the random issues which are out, during that time. So these look really good. I've heard the Batman one's great. Superman, if you like the original Superman, I mean the very, very first ones. They're
love
reprinting
those.
So they might be worth looking, but they're quite
That's
pricey, I
cool.
think. Yeah.
How much? When you say pricey, how much? That's what I was
How
going to
much?
ask.
Let's have a look. I mean, it looks great. I love the style. It's like a manga
Are
style,
these-
Zaxx, isn't it?
Are these
Yeah.
the undersized ones? So they're not even like a
No,
full-size
they're not.
comic?
Because,
Okay.
I'm aware of those as well. I can't get the price up, but let's have a look. Yeah, but
Okay.
hearing good things about them. Seriously, like hearing really good things.
I remember being in middle school, and this is like 84, 83. And I remember going to the the public library, and they had this huge hardback book, and it was like the Marvel Daredevil, like going back to the very first issue, and it was this huge tome
cool.
where you could look at these. And I would do that with all these superheroes that I thought were cool, because I'm 13, 15, I don't know my dick from a hole in the ground. I'm like, oh, look, that guy's called Daredevil, or there's Thor, but it's like, I love that they're kind of putting some of those older issues in, because I love those classic origin stories for so many of these characters.
$39.99, so $40, sorry. Between 35 and
it?
40. Yeah.
Cool. The reason why I say that is because I was thinking about getting myself a Christmas present, and that was the original Conan oversized hardback, which is I think it's 12 or 1300 pages, but they won $100 for it. And,
Yeah, I've seen that. I thought it looks amazing, but it's way too pricey. Yeah.
I desperately want it, and maybe I'll get it for my birthday. Maybe I'll get it for myself for my birthday. But it's like 1,500 pages of original artwork, and it's like, oh god, that just it gets me hard just thinking about that. That's just amazing.
Do you get hard, Zaxx, thinking about Conan comics being reprinted?
All the
I know
time.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my go-to jumpstart for sure.
Sydney
Jesus.
Sweeney, to hell with her.
Get outta
Conan.
Wow.
I wonder if maybe like collectibles and video games would be the way to get kids back into comics, because they do cool statues, cool merch, and the games, like the video games still, yes, there's anime characters in games, but I think comic characters in games is still strong, and maybe that's the pipeline to get them into the comic store.
Well, I mean, look at what AAA gaming is doing. They're blowing, like creating new intellectual property and identifiable characters for an entire generation. I mean, this generation of kids has been fucked over for 10 years.
Yeah.
Think about it, okay? Between COVID and shitty movies and redefining and deconstructing, like, where do they have to go? What does their generation have to call their own?
Right.
And like I've been saying, we've said it for how many years now, guys? The first person that just tells a good hero's journey in a good character that's well written and strong in a good heterosexual love story is going to own this generation. Okay, but I do think a lot of kids are going back to they're in love with manga for a reason. But I was in the mall today, which never happens, but I watched all these kids in this store, and it was all these blind boxes of all this random Japanese shit, like that egg character, whatever the hell it is, and then like My Hero Academia. These kids love this. These kids want to have something that's their own. And the reason why, I think part of the reason why they're going to manga and all of this other stuff is because the American, not just comic, but entertainment industry has completely betrayed them. It has completely forgotten they exist, except as an audience to push their narratives to. And I won't say which ones, but we all know which one's salty wants
We all
to say.
know them.
Yeah. but these kids are so. It gives me hope because I think they're quiet, but I also think they're seething with anger and disgust at the American entertainment industry, and with good reason. And they're like, well, screw you, I'm going to go read My Hero Academia, or I'm going to go do Dragon Slayer. And just watching these girls act like girls did when we were 80s, when they're getting this little blind box thing of some crazy looking anime purple witch character. I have no idea what the hell this thing is, but they're running around screaming like it's Bon Jovi in like 86. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would like
guys,
to see that.
I've got you here. Just sorry to interrupt, Zaxx. Just play a little bit of this opening video, which is what we're just talking about now. Where are we? Just share my screen. What no one wants to admit about comic books. Okay, this is recent. This is about the graphic novel Bone, but it opens up with this. Just listen to this.
Marvel sold less than 4% of the graphic novels in North America. DC sold just 5%. And I'm cheating a bit because I'm not even including manga. If I did, DC and Marvel combined would have sold less than 5% of the graphic novels in North America.
Wow.
That is green, that's manga. I mean, we know this has been happening for a while, but this is graphic novels. It's not talking about actual... Does that count individual issues? I don't know, but graphic novel sales, DC and Marvel, red and blue, and then green manga. Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah.
That's 2023. That's last year, not this year.
Well, like I said, it was in the mall today, and normally I just go in, hit my LCS, and then maybe check out the hot milfs, and then leave.
That's what I do.
But today, I went to Borders or whatever the hell it is. No, it's Barnes and Noble. That's the only one left. I went to Barnes and Noble and wandered around in there, and there were tons of kids buying books. And you've heard how many channels say this. The manga section is huge.
Oh, it's insane. Yeah.
Multiple rows. And then on one end cap, you've got the DC stuff, and you've got the D&D stuff kind of right next to it. But it's fascinating to look at this stuff where these kids, they're walking out with this or that, or they're buying manga for other people, or they're talking about, have you read this, have you read that? And it's like part of it makes my heart hurt because I'm an American or North American, considering Zaxx is here.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying, dude? It's just like, but you know what? At the end of the day, again, if they're finding the same archetype and it's from a different culture, that's okay. You know what? Because the Japanese take this a lot more seriously, I think, than the American entertainment industry has. And I don't know, would it be, what's fair? At least 10 years, if not 15 years.
I think 15 years. His first introduction to comics, that was good. I'm glad you brought that up. I watched that video earlier at 2 Gray. Was Bone. He collected the Bone collections through, I think it was through Scholastics at school. Like he didn't buy them at a store. And that was his first collection of comics. I'm like, what is this? And he read them. He thought they were great, but I thought, like, there's so many better comics that I have right here if you would just read these boxes of comics. And no, he liked the Bone ones.
Yes. It's crazy, right? It's kind of like, why don't you want to? It's probably like our parents. It's like, why don't you listen to this Pink Floyd? Why are you listening to Def Leppard? It's the only thing I can come up with. But I mean, at the end, again, what I'm coming around to is, these kids are growing up in the world that, if you would have told us the world was going to be like this when we were 20. We'd have said bullshit. There's no way. But here we are, and the world is this way. We have movie studios that aren't interested in making movies. We've got comic book companies that aren't interested in showing the actual comic book characters. So, but these kids, they're resilient, and they want the same things that filled our souls, with Wolverine or Batman or whatever it might have been, the X-Men originally going back. And they're finding it. They're just not finding it again from a North American content producers, And it's like, it's weird, but and I don't like anime, and I don't like manga. But if it makes them happy, I'm okay with it, man.
What a fumble, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It makes me sad as well. As a Brit who grew up, loving American comics, it makes me sad to see it the state it is in.
How many times have we talked about it, Gray? My brother was such a like an Anglo. He loved the Anglo comics like Judge Dredd, Captain Britain, and would send away for them, and they'd ship them in the rolled up tube, totally destroyed, in a rolled up tube. But it's just. I don't know. Maybe this has always been the case. Is you want to, if there's something good and different from a different culture. I mean, not to get negative, but what can you point to that's been going on in North America that would make kids feel a lot of pride or hope for the future? Especially like just the government, but from the entertainment that they're pushing out there.
Purple's in the
oh
house.
My God!
Hey,
that'll cheer people up.
Hey, what's up?
Good to see you. Early morning in there. Good old Blighty Salty.
She and I were watching some Christmas movies today. I think we watched a little bit Harry Potter, and we are, Gray. I told her that you wanted to watch Christmas movies on Christmas Day, so we're definitely
going to do it. And Creamy Fart say, wait, I thought the stream was ending ages ago. What the fuck? It's Salty. And Zaxx. Great to see you. Purple, hope you're good, hope you're genki, and looking forward to Christmas. Can't wait to catch up with you.
Yeah.
It's like they've done this thing with comics where it's all written for one lunch table, and everyone else in the cafeteria is not well.
Did Trudeau get him?
They're like, well, I mean, that's not fair. How come we're not kicking into our lunch money? Well, like, you won't let us near your books, and you've made them so it's not just that we can't purchase them; it's that there's nothing here for me. Like, everything here is vegan now. I don't want any of it.
It's right. And gay. Right. In the vegetables are used pronouns. So why would anybody want anything to do with them? I agree.
It's more and more exclusionary all the time. Every step it takes, it's less people that you're cutting off by. I want to include this group. Well, okay, now you're cutting off a whole other group. It's just put the story out there, write different kinds of comics. That's what the manga people have done.
That's what I think Indie's doing so well, Zaxx. Like we talked about it, the series like Transformers, the Ghost Machine titles, the G.I. Joes, they've all been doing so well. Indie's really, really taken off big, I think, this year. Yeah. And do you know what? We get criticism. I get criticism, Jim, for saying Indie is not, it's basically Image or Boom, or it's outside DC and Marvel. People say that's not really indie. They're talking about bloody, tiny, what do you call it? Kitchen sink press or self-funded Kickstarters.
Yeah,
I don't agree. I mean, what is indie? Sorry, indie is outside the big two, in it, as far as I'm concerned.
Indie is outside the big two, and there are some of those publishing houses that are up shit creek. I mean, they are for a lot of the decisions they're making. Now, you can look at something like Antarctic Press, which has been around for how many? I think almost 3 decades. Most of their stuff isn't for me, but they have some pretty good stuff. And then you've also got to look at I don't know. I mean, like all the comics I showed you today, I got Image. Would you consider Image to be some powerhouse of comics? That's what I bought today. And who that? Mad Cave. Look, Flash Gordon. That's what I picked up today. Oh, look, Space Ghost. There's a Dynamite. Dynamite isn't exactly hitting it out of the park. And then I got one DC title today. I got Batgirl. And then what did I get here? I got the Conan.
DC and Marvel are owned by, huge companies. You've got Warner's with DC and you've got Disney now with Marvel, haven't you? So I don't think Image are owned by a massive, massive company like that, are they?
No.
They're kind of independent.
But I mean, every week I go and I look at the Marvel rack. And I
shake your head.
I mean, like I said, I collect Wolverine. I collect the Wolverine Revenge.
That is actually decent. That's one of the rare decent Marvel comics, Wolverine Revenge, right now.
Yeah. But I mean, that's it. I mean, and it's like I want what I think, I would like to have an X-Men that was good, that I cared about. I would like to have a Fantastic Four that was good.
So if you don't wear a fedora and a whip, people, you ain't indie. That's a cracker. That's a good one, Fearmonic. Come on.
Well, Comixology, what happened with that, Gray? Didn't you buy comics through Comixology? Didn't they screw that up?
Amazon took over them and then they just like run it into the ground, and it's crap now. What's ridiculous is the reader on Comixology now, Kindle basically, you can read it better on a pirate site than you can on Kindle on the official thing when you buy it.
It's terrible. Because I actually downloaded a couple comics onto my Kindle, and I don't have like some little ghetto Kindle. I've got the big new one, the 11, right? And it still doesn't work because the formatting isn't right because you can't get the images to show up correctly.
Yeah.
And I use my full-size 11-inch Kindle to read books with, and it looks great.
Dazzler broke me. It broke a lot of people, Michael.
Oh, Christ. No, that and Storm. Storm, I was so excited because it was an impulse buy.
She's a great character. That's why. Yeah.
Yeah, it had the Doom variant cover. It had the Doom variant cover. And I bought it,
Dazzler.
didn't look at it till I got home, and I'm like, oh, it's BLM. All over. It's BLM all over again. Look at this. I got to listen to a black author tell me about her life and not about Storm. So that just went right in the fucking thing.
Can you guys tell me the Dazzler thing? Because I've seen that on lots of topics, and I've never actually heard anyone talk about it. What's the issue with Dazzler? I mean, Dazzler always sucked. What's the issue with Dazzler now?
It looks like somebody with no arms and legs did the art, and they were in an earthquake zone. I just want to say that one, Zaxx.
I don't know. The art isn't the worst thing about it. It's the writing. It's basically a singer character, and just a series of concerts.
Bad. Really?
That's it. I think that's all it's about. Yeah, I've not read past issue 1, and I only skim read that. So it was just awful.
Is it a reboot of the series for that character?
It's I don't know if it's the first time they've had a solo series or it's just a solo mini, but it's rebooted with the modern message. So it's just like, oh god, I don't need this.
Isn't it for Taylor Swift? Isn't she going to be Dazzler?
I don't know. Editorial is to blame, says Dwayne. Ooh. Probably.
But it's so hard with Marvel, and then what's weird is the way my LCS does it, the Marvels are all up here like at eye level and to maybe your waist, and then beneath them at E level are all of the Star Wars comic books nobody buys. They're literally like at the level you would scrape shit off your shoes at. Like that's what it looks like. They put them on the racks at that level. That's how nobody's buying them either. Oh my god.
Look at these variant covers for Dazzler. You guys going to collect all of these? Wow.
No.
What a mistake. Like that was, I guess, that's another one they really pushed too far. The variant covers and the 1 in 100 or 1 in 1,000.
Well, the incentives are crazy. I mean, some of these, and it breaks my heart. And that's the thing. And Marvel is, I think, more guilty of this than DC. Is the only covers worth a shit from Marvel cost $25 to $200 each, and the other ones again look like they're doodled by an Alzheimer's patient riding a train. It's just terrible,
Guys, can I read you some of this? Here we go. This is from issue
please.
1. This is my house. We should all feel safe in it as who we are. So lovely to see you all here. Gosh, you all look so beautiful. I can see you all shimmering. Because, listen, Soldy, it's still a cruel world out there. And we can't let any of that negativity crawl its way in here. This is comic book, man. First song is about a certain playboy, and that's it. This is just like the first review. Let's see what Gabe gave it out of 10. Where are we? This is number 1. 4 out of 10.
It's still better than Tom King.
It's an embarrassment of riches for people who like the idea of Marvel superhero comics but don't actually read Marvel comics. Jason Liu's script is a mind-boggling array of social activist talking points. There you go. A nonsensical character representation, painfully tone-deaf plot developments. But at the very least, the art is pretty good, Salty. He said the art's okay. He's trying to be nice with the art, at least. It's not too bad.
God.
It's not too bad.
No, but
the writing's terrible, man. It's awful. It's so, hitting you over the head with a sledgehammer, listen to my fucking politics.
It's that review sounds almost exactly like the Storm #1 review that I read after about the comic, where it's like it completely discards the actual origin story and powers of Storm to insert the writer's own life experience into a comic book, and it's like, holy shit! I really should have looked at this comic before I bought it. So, yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up, Zaxx. That's cool. I wonder how many end of the year top, best of the year lists it's going to be on. I'm sure it's going to be on a few. You know what I mean? Oh god. Seriously, I'm not joking.
We could just some other time we could do this. We should look at a book like this and then FBI style sit down and profile who this comic is for. Who's the one person that this comic has been written for? Because
the writer,
Sherry,
Jason Liu.
Sherry. Yeah,
Sherry.
Who is this? Because it's comics, it's already rough to sell a female comic. Dazzler's never been a popular character. So you're giving her own book. You're making it social justice. So there's no, self-respecting male who's going to buy this, right? So you can only get the males who hate themselves who are going to buy this, right? Yeah.
Joking. No, you're the wrong way around, so you got to go the other way around, wouldn't it? There you go. We just lost 5 viewers, by the way. Joking. Now, this is really good. Now, that would be good to do, Zaxx. Yeah, you know.
Who
would buy that?
We asked that question, like, who is this for? But really, who is this for? Like, could we
The
figure out
righteous friends,
that one person who wants this book?
Well,
Would Jason Liu buy it?
No, he wrote it. He got a free copy.
Simu Liu would buy it.
Jesus. Screw that guy.
God.
But
I was going to say, was it Mystique that had one of the worst covers I think I've ever seen in a comic book? I think it was the A cover. It just looked like somebody was like riding a BMX bike that had Parkinson's disease that did the artwork. It was so bad. It was
dear.
bad. Yeah.
I mean, what if you had to show your friends either your Dazzler book you brought or a pile of very questionable porn that you found in the bushes, and so which would you own up to? Like,
I think I'd rather show him Buttless Chaps Annual than Mystique. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's just so strange.
Is Gray frozen, or is he pretending that we're not?
I want to share, guys, while I've got you here, before we wwrap things up, just a quick look. This is the AIPT. I know it's a show site. The best comics of 2024 part 1. Are you ready for this? Let's have a quick look, to scope through. Actually, there was a couple of good things on here.
Okay.
So we have the best writer is Dennis Camp, who's writing the Ultimates series, Marvel. Anybody reading it?
No.
I'm
I
not.
almost picked you up the Peach Momoko of the last issue. It was in the dollar. Dude, the Ultimates was in the dollar bin already. So that's why I'm laughing. I almost picked it up for you, but I don't care enough.
I
about
appreciate
you.
that.
Spend $1. I almost did, but maybe I'll do it again. So.
Best number 1 of the year, sorry, this one's for you. Batgirl issue 1, which we were talking about not long ago. That is a good choice. That's pretty good. I wouldn't know it's the best of the year, but it was good. It was decent.
Okay,
it's
that's
in,
good.
It's in the top 30. I'd say top 30. It's surprising, but it's in the top.
Good action-packed series focusing on Cassandra Cain, great character. Best original graphic novel, We Called Them Giants, Kieran Gillen, Stephanie Hans. I don't know it, but I know the writer. I know the artist.
This is the second list that I've seen this on, Gray, where they said that this was like a top series. So now
Is that a hockey stick?
Looks that way.
Looks like it. It's got nails in it, is it?
Yeah.
I did read there a series Die, which is based on D&D, but like the players got sent into a really scary alternate world. It was just pretty good. It was a bit boring, though, a bit slow.
The mini-series, I agree. I pre-ordered that entire mini-series.
Oh,
the
did
Parliament
you?
of Rooks. Yeah.
Oh, this one. I've never even heard of this, Salty.
Well, it's based on a book that I think, and Purple Valkyrie actually told me about it. So all credit goes to Purple. I believe it was an Eisner-winning book, or it was this guy won a huge award just for the narrative of the story. So this is essentially a graphic interpretation of that, and it is really good. I highly recommend this series. It's only a 4-issue run. So
writer, artist, colorist Abigail Harding. There we go. It says Comixology Originals. That's we just talking about. What's happened to them. I didn't know they were still doing anything.
Yeah.
There we go. Best ongoing series, Ultimate Spider-Man, folks. According to AIPT. I know it has been very popular, but I've kind of lost interest. It's gone very, very boring, in my opinion.
It's gone Tom King. People are talking about their menstrual flows and emotions.
Oh, Jesus. Best event, Absolute Power.
Bullshit. Do you know how many issues are sitting at my LCS of that entire run? Nobody wanted it. Shit. Nobody wants it.
Nah, it wasn't very good. I dropped out of the first issue. Best letter, that's fair
Do
enough.
you know, for Absolute Power, they did a one-shot series after that. Remember with DC, they had all these great variant covers?
Yeah.
Right now on Midtown, you can get a Snyder signed copy of that Absolute run for $6.99.
Ooh. Snyder signed. Zack Snyder or Scott?
No. What is it? The Snyder who's
Scott
writing
Snyder.
Batman.
I know,
but
just being
my
silly.
point with that is that nobody wants it. Nobody wants that storyline. Like even
Nobody
at
wants
Midtown
it.
Comics in New York, they can't give these goddamn books away. Okay, so
Best single issue, The Boy Wonder issue 4, Junie Barr, very stylistic.
Whatever.
This was actually a good issue. Not the best issue of the year, but it was pretty good. There we go.
A signed copy for $7? Is that what you're saying?
signed copy for $7,
That's crazy, Salty.
and that's the foil variant.
Wow.
Now this was good, guys. If you've not read it, the Best Maxi series. It's two series, the One Hand and the Six Fingers. They were being written like concurrently, and they kind of had the same characters, but they were done from different perspectives. One was from the detective, one was from the murderer, the killer. This was
Really?
decent, yeah. Ram V and Dan Waters were writing those
That's
two.
interesting.
I don't know what to think about Ram V, to be honest with you. I
Yeah.
haven't been the biggest fan of his stuff in the past, and
It's got great hair.
I-
Say that.
yeah,
That's all I know. It's got great hair.
Yeah.
Oh dear. But yeah, it's worth a look. I think you might enjoy that, Salty. It's dark, serial killer kind of, little bit of an alternate reality story. So this list surprised me because there are some good things on here. Then we get Best Newsletter. Chip Zdarsky's newsletter. There we go. I don't know. He's so full of himself, Chip. I don't know what
I
to think
don't
of it.
get it. I don't get it. Yeah,
Why
I
is it so
agree,
popular?
Michael. His stuff is mid at best. Yeah, and I didn't want to say that and feel like an asshole if people love it, because I'm already sound like an asshole most of the time because of my takes. So
See, the guy that wrote, he wrote Batman or something for a while, then he left.
He's writing it at the moment, and
Did
it's
he
gone
Substack?
right off. It's gone boring.
Yeah.
He did a really good Daredevil run, which was got him the Batman job, I think. But it's I don't know. He just doesn't get Batman, maybe.
Speaking of that, what do you guys think about Hush? I know that I believe the Hush run starts, is it in April or February, where they start, I think it's, what is it, a 5 or 6 issue run of the Hush 2?
It's coming soon. It's coming soon, Salty.
I don't know. Between that and then Marvel on their hands and knees begging Mark Muller to come back to do something.
Please.
No, I'm
Okay.
serious. Like Mark Miller needs any bullshit from Marvel. You know what I mean?
I know.
If I was him, I would just write a check with a lot of zero. I would put a number with a lot of zeros on it, and the only condition is no editorial oversight, no input at all. You publish exactly what the fuck I give you with no bitching and moaning. Like, that's the only way I would go. Like, I have
it.
complete, absolute control over what has my name on it, because he doesn't need them. He
Right.
doesn't need Marvel at all. You know?
No. He had Mike Barron on, I think, his show the other day. I listened to a little bit of that. That was an interesting conversation.
Oh, was it good? I've not listened to that one yet. Yeah. He's got a decent channel.
Mike has been doing what is it? He's got a GoFundMe, not a GoFundMe, an Indiegogo right now he did a Sherlock Holmes graphic novel called The Leviathan that looks like he's with Captain Nemo, and I'm probably gonna back it. It looks good. I don't like his colorist because it was Rippaverse's colorist. But it is what it is. But Mike Barron's art is exceptional, and I've loved him since Punisher, since that first run, which I used to have a hardcover of.
I'm trying to find this out because you mentioned it. There's a preview. It's Batman issue 158. Great wraparound cover.
God, look at that.
So where are we?
Yep.
When does it come out? It comes out, yeah, you're right, March 26th.
Okay.
So issue 158, the first issue of Hush. Here's the main cover, Jim Lee.
But look at that retro logo. They're kicking it back to Rebirth almost with that. I love it.
It's awesome.
And it
Love the logo.
Yeah.
on this one
Yeah.
as well, the Batman sign. Got the Hush
Yeah.
2 in the lettering there. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But, is it enough to save DC Comics or to bring them back? I don't know.
Well, what's the
don't know.
gimmick? Like, how are they going to do this again?
I don't know, because I just watched with Purple Valkyrie again the DC Animated Studios Hush version, and it's pretty good. It's been so long since I read that storyline. The animated movie in Purple Valkyrie is the expert on Hush, guys. If you like, seriously, no disrespect to anybody, that woman knows her comic book stuff, especially Batman. She was really hard on the DC animated movie because they changed the ending for the movie. But
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
they changed what happened with Catwoman and everything. But I don't know why you do this other than to try and get people our age to come back to Batman. Like,
Right.
Zaxx, why would you do this again?
I don't know. I wouldn't do it again. It's just to get attention. People are probably talking about it, but I don't think That wouldn't make me buy it. I might see how it went and maybe pick up something later, but I'm not buying weekly comics at all at this point, especially not from these guys.
It's interesting, and I say that being fully cognizant of the fact that I buy every cover of every one of the Batman, the last Long Halloween, Last Halloween. Like I just do. But the reason why is it's low. It's the original team that wrote the original story wanting to do more with it. I still don't know if it's going to pay off. I don't know if it's going to crash and burn. And is it nostalgia because I'm an old man and I want to relive my glory days of comic books? Maybe. But I think with that, I allow more grace than this. I allow more grace than just, let's do Hush 2,
Yeah.
I think if it works and if it's a good story and people like it, then I think it does open things up for them to do more things like this. But I think now they got to show people, like it's show don't tell right now.
Yeah, and it was interesting because what was it? Is it Justice League what is it, Gray? Is it Justice League Unlimited?
Yeah.
For the number 1, they did a Hush variant cover, and I got that one, and it's a beautiful cover by Jim Lee. But I gotta say this, and
That's
everybody
crazy.
said it, but Jim Lee has to actually fucking draw. All right, not phone it in. Okay,
He does.
Not just be like doodle, doodle, doodle. I'm gonna play with my junk and then half finish a drawing. He's gotta act like Jim Lee, like the one that sold all the comics, and made good art for at least a couple issues.
Yeah, is it just a gimmick? It possibly is that, but as you say, you summed it up there well. It's got people talking, it's got people excited. If it gets people back into the comic book shops, that's what they're hoping for. That's what they're hoping for with Absolute. The Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman at the moment. So yeah, maybe it's working. According to the first few issues sales, it has worked. They're doing very well.
Good.
Nightclub's very good. The Nightclub 2's out at the moment by Mark Miller. The vampires, superhero teenage vampires. It's really good.
Yes, it is. That's and all to you, Gray. I blame you for making me.
You blame me for everything. Blaming me and Max MVP.
Rogue Nemesis. The
Rogues Gallery Nemesis. Yeah. That is so cool. Yeah. Dwayne saying Hush 2 is the last stop before the desert. Yeah, it probably is. Okay, guys, we should wrap things up. I don't want to keep you too late. I can't believe we've gone on for two and a quarter hours. Salty and Zaxx. It's your fault.
Jesus Christ, we could talk about anything right now. If you want to open up a whole can of worms, Zaxx, what did you think of the Superman trailer? Then we'll go.
Oh yeah, well I've got you here, Zaxx. Come on.
I don't know what to think. I honestly I want to like it, and a James Gunn. I've never been excited for a James Gunn movie ever, but I've liked a lot of James Gunn movies.
Me too.
And so I'm coming at it from that standpoint. Guardians, the first one was fantastic looking back, and so but this is not Guardians, and I understand that, and I agree. See, for me right away, the crypto people love that. I don't really want to see the dog, but I guess there's people who love the dog, but for me that's not I mean, it's cute, but that's not what I was hoping.
I don't love him as a character in the comics. He just looked really cool in the trailer.
I'm worried about this, and there's a British guy that I hooked up with that I talked to behind the scenes. Melon Rattler. Go subscribe to him. He's a good guy.
Okay.
Big Doctor Who guy. But his reaction to Superman Gray was pretty much like mine when I unfortunately hurt Jim's feelings, which was not my intent at all.
No, you didn't. Don't worry about it.
I look at what James Gunn did, and I know that I know two things. Warner Brothers had James Gunn redo the trailer a couple days before its release to change the tone entirely.
Okay.
Look that up.
Interesting.
And the other thing I know is that Warner Brothers CEO David Zaslav, less than 48 hours before that trailer debuted, sold $30 million worth of his own personal stock in Warner Brothers before the trailer, because the Warner stock was actually trending up higher in price before the trailer came out. After the trailer came out, it was like this, and it has stayed that way. So read into that what you will. Is Salty just an asshole who hates everything? Maybe. And yet, could this also be what it looks like? Maybe. Now, I'm just like you, Zaxx. I don't want to not like this, but I have some concerns that James Gunn was bought in for one reason, and that's to take the dark, gritty Snyderverse completely away from the DCEU and
Yeah.
make it more fun.
Right.
I agree.
MCU. And that's it. And
saying that, Salty, why have they
Gardner-
chosen this image for the main? Look at that. Why have they chosen that image?
I don't
hate
understand that
That's the
either.
one I
Dude,
least
it's
like
so
in the
bad.
whole thing.
It's so bad. It's just
That was like Snyder's version, really dark and like depressing.
he's a loser. I mean,
Yeah.
it starts out with him
That's
getting his
weird.
ass kicked,
Yeah.
and he's got to be saved by a CG fucking dog. And then you got Dumb and Dumber Guy Gardner with the bull haircut.
Yes.
Which
Yeah.
Yeah, but he looks like
know.
that in the comics. It's comic book accurate.
I
is.
know. You fucking asshole. I know he's an asshole.
How about
And
Lois
yet,
Lane's casting? Michael Saylor's not happy about that.
I don't like it.
her
I think
as
the
Lois
shit
Lane.
too, Michael. I don't like it at all. And again, you know, I understand I'm gonna be 55 fucking years old in March, and I get it. I'm an old man screaming at clouds, but yet this is not what I want for Superman. Now, am I completely off base because I went when I was my grandfather and watched the Superman movie with Christopher Reeve, and it was so good. My grandfather, and this is back when you could smoke in a movie theater. My grandfather
Remember
was
those days?
my grandfather was smoking a pipe and wiping a tear. My grandfather, World War II veteran, wiping a tear away, saying this is a really good movie. The little 7-year-old me, maybe. But at the same point, that is not the Superman that we, who just elected Donald Trump, want. That is the Superman that the Kamala Harris voters want. Let's be really honest about it. So I don't know how it's going to do. I don't know.
I wanted to do well, but it's really, I think it is a tough sell today. And like you said, the originals were magic. Like all of that was magical. The effects were magical. The performances were fantastic. Even though Margot Kidder ended up a toothless meth addict or whatever, at the time she worked fine. You know, she really did.
I'd have done her. Yeah.
Sure. And this casting is, I don't hate it because I didn't like that ginger. What's her name? The last one. I wasn't a fan of hers.
She was
I liked
terrible.
her a lot. I liked her a
terrible as
lot.
Lois Lane, mate. Sorry.
No, I'm not
That
saying
is Lois Lane. I just liked her a lot, like naked.
Yes.
That was great. But
she's
Lois
attractive.
Lane part was-
She's attractive, but I just didn't like her. I didn't think she was Lois.
She's not Lois Lane. She's not Lois Lane. I agree.
But I actually like Superman and Lois. I only watched the first season of the series. The first season was really, really good. Shockingly good.
I remember.
It is.
And so they could do things with Superman that can still get people to buy in. I don't know if this is going to be that. James Gunn, I don't know if the tone's going to be right. Because he's so jokey. Can he be serious? I don't know.
He can't. But Zaxx, where I'm going with that point, if he was brought into a race to Snyderverse, what is he going to do? He's going to do what made money for the MCU. He's going to do Guardians of the Galaxy. And what I'm almost convinced of is we're talking almost a 1-for-1 swap. Crypto is going to be the new Groot, meant to sell toys. Guy Gardner's going to be Drax. Hawkgirl's going to be, I don't know, fucking Valkyrie from the MCU, you know? And that's what I'm afraid of. It's just going to be skin suit, like repaints for the DCEU of what worked for James Gunn in Guardians of the Galaxy. The problem is even his Guardians of the Galaxy was not the Guardians of the Galaxy in the comic books, which is fine.
Right, yeah.
But you can't turn Superman into Star-Lord, which is what I'm worried they're going to do with some Gen Z or young millennial star. Like, I don't want to watch that shit. I don't know. I don't know.
Best shot of the trailer was this guy's, wasn't it? Without a doubt. That's the best scene in the trailer.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
The trailer was
That's
a lot of him
Superman
being humbled.
Superman. Being
Humbled.
Superman.
Yeah. It was him being humbled a lot in the trailer, it looked like, but then there's the hope. But
this is Salty's favourite scene. Where are we? That's cryptic.
I love dogs. Don't fuck with me. Well, it's interesting because I watched Shane Davis, who worked at DC Comics for 20 years.
Oh,
He
yeah,
actually
I know him, yeah.
He drew Superman. He actually reviewed this movie because now he's indie. He quit the comics because he saw all of his friends.
I backed his Kickstarter
canceled.
project as well.
But yeah, I mean, he's a very good artist, and I've got a signed Superman issue from him. He was talking about this and his concerns with it, and ironically enough, with a lot of the things that I thought he brought up, but a whole lot more because he's fucking smart and he knows these characters because he drew them. He's drawn Superman. He's drawn Guy Gardner.
That's insane.
He's like, yeah, you're kind of accurate, but this is probably not what we want to do and not what we want to see. And I think one of the most important things, to go back to my boy Melon Rattler in the UK, he's like, focus on building one character before you introduce all of these other characters.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
many characters did we see? And I don't like the casting for Lex at all. I think the casting is totally wrong. What's it? Holt? Is that his name?
Nicholas Holt.
He can act
Yeah.
though. I've seen
He's
him do some
okay.
good stuff.
Yeah.
He used to play Beast in the new X-Men movies, didn't he?
That's not selling me
Yeah.
though.
No, I know. I know.
Got Dwayne shouting out this Salty and Zaxx, the animated series from the 90s, like proper Superman. Look at that.
Yeah.
This is definitely worth watching.
Same thing with Batman. I mean,
Yeah.
this is not
Oh, yeah.
hard to do. I mean, it's Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers not only has fucked up every single thing that they've touched, but they fucked it up in such an incomprehensible way that it defies logic. I mean, truly, and not just the DCEU, but every goddamn movie they've made. They've ruined any goodwill with what they're going to be doing with Lord of the Rings, God help us all, and they fucked up their games division entirely. So it's not negative to go, you know what? I don't trust what I'm being shown here right now, and I don't trust the logic and decision making behind it. You know?
I do want to see that one, Michael. So yeah, Night Bitch looks good.
Okay.
Oh
I don't
God,
good.
shut up.
I want to see it though.
Yeah, that's not good spank material though. She's not really good.
No, it's she's not looking great in that one. But I think that's the point.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, we'll see. You know what I'm like, ever the optimist. I'm hopeful. I know what you're saying. I know the negative points. He starts off with him on the floor, but it's like, yeah, I just thought it was fun to see Crypto looking
I
actually
want it to
like a
be
real
good.
dog.
Great. Every time I say these things, I want to be wrong, and I don't say them
Want
because
it to be
somebody
good.
because somebody told me to think this. You know, I give absolutely not one single fuck
No, I
what
know.
any other YouTuber says, especially the clowns who clog up Friday night. Okay, I don't give a fuck what they think. Every
You called
single
war over
thought
they're
that I
here 1,000
have,
miles away.
dude, of course I did. You know, I mean, 2 years ago I called it, and it's not because I'm negative. It's because I've been, you know, come on. But I mean, it's just like everything I say, it's, you know, it comes from a place of sincerity. And here's the thing: I don't want to be right, but these fuckers are so predictable. Especially Warner Brothers and Paramount. Did you know Paramount's dropping another goddamn Star Trek show with Section 31
Yeah, I heard about it.
led? Oh God,
Guys, I just found Zaxx. Zaxx, this is the Superman movie you're waiting for, isn't it? The new trailer.
Yeah. Oh fuck,
Come
that's
on.
gonna be so good.
I didn't know there was a Will Smith one coming out as well. Did
Yeah.
you?
What? Shut up! This is not fucking real.
It looks real, though, doesn't it? That's so cool. Whoever made that.
I want the
Oh, that's
Ta-Nehisi
funny.
Coates version. That's the kind I want.
Oh no, please, Zaxx,
Oh,
no.
it's gonna be so good. J.J. Abrams, Ta-Nehisi Coates. They're gonna resurrect
Lois.
Superman.
Oh God! Get
This
Lois
image,
Lane.
this is horrible as well. This one.
Lois Lane's name out of your goddamn mouth. That's what he's gonna do.
Slap. Oh, classic. That's really cool.
An older
Okay,
version.
guys, we're going to wrap things up now. Definitely keep saying that. But thanks for giving me your thoughts on Superman trailer, Zaxx and Salty. I know we were kind of listening to you in the chat when we were doing it with Jim. You know what I'm like, ever the optimist. I know I'm a fool. I'll be fooled again.
I wanna
I'm
be
just
wrong.
hoping it's going
Hey,
to be
I wanna
fun,
be-
you know.
Wrong.
Go on.
I'm gonna be cautiously optimistic. That's it.
Really? Even
Yeah.
you? I can't believe it. I thought that was my job. Where's my Nick Cage Superman, says Fearmonic. That's true. You got to watch The Flash, that terrible Flash movie, to see a little bit of that.
You know, that's been free on Amazon almost since it came out, and it pops up whenever I go to Amazon to watch.
And how many
stuff.
times have you
Just
watched it?
mostly, Well, I was going to say mostly
Zero.
I watch old college football games on Amazon because
Oh,
there's nothing
Jesus.
I want to watch, but it's always there. And I never have had any inclination to watch that movie even for free.
Me
You
neither.
know?
Fast forward to just watch the Michael Keaton scenes, and surprisingly, the Supergirl, not Superwoman in that, is pretty good. Just watch those scenes.
I heard that.
Forget
Yeah.
it.
Sasha somebody.
Let's get out of here. Come on, Gray. Okay. So thanks, Salty. Thanks, Zaxx. Thanks, chat. You guys, you girls, everyone out there, you
Thank
rule.
you.
This has been the longest Grey stream for ages. It feels like 3
You
years
did
ago
it.
when we all
You're back.
started, doesn't it?
You're
We're
back.
back.
It was the Kama Sutra of Wakizashi's Teahouse tonight.
I don't know. We're going that far.
Looking for the
See ya.
W spot. I found the W spot on Gray.